After waking up from the villain quick cross author, Sioux City mute copy, Sand Sculpture Entertainment. It is recommended to read High Energy Warning, KY Self-Respect. Chu Yunshen's head hurts every time he wakes up. Because he is usually either lying in the villain's quilt, or just getting up from the villain's quilt. Villain, dog thief, I will castrate you. Chu Yun's hung, oh. CP, the sand sculpture is sick X. The sand sculpture is sick. High energy warning 2. The main attack is fast 1v1, and the subject looks similar in each world. As long as the attack is not blind, it can be recognized. The real world is a higher civilization, the memory of the beginning of the attack is incomplete, and it is attacked by a secret love, and the sand sculptures love each other sweetly. 3. 4. The attack is uncontrollable, and all the worlds have no children. 6. I can't find the scarf, so I can make do with the old Ford, there is wine in the Sioux City. Completed world. First world, Rise of the Superstars, Modern Entertainment, Second world, True and False Omega, Interstellar ABO, the Third world, Ghost Marriage. The Fourth world, 700,000 people. The Fifth world, Tyrants and Emperors, Ancient Monarchs and Ministers, the Sixth world, Blood Slaves, Western Vampires, the Seventh world, Cultivating Immortals or Cultivating Demons, Xiangxia, the Eighth world, the Code of God, Esports, the Ninth world, Through the Pear Garden of the Republic of China, Republic of China, the 10th world, After 10 years of retreat, I am the number one in the world, Chinese martial arts, the 11th world, The Old God Experiment, Modern Microcthulhu, World 12th, World, End, Content Tags, Tianwen Kuai Chuan Counterattack Search Keywords, Protagonist, Chu Yun's Hung, Yin Zheng Supporting Role, Others, One Sentence Introduction, The villain always wants to strangle me. Intention, people are not perfect, and foreign objects are tempted, but still adhere to their own principles. Chu Yun's Hung had a splitting headache. He felt like a big lump of wet cotton stuffed in his head, his mind was dizzy and sluggish. Chu Yun's Hung urgently needed to relieve this unbelievable manic fiery, so he had to hug the flexible and cool body in his arms tighter and tighter, and was imprisoned under him. The round bed made a rhythmic noise and shook violently. In the chaotic and blurred vision, Chu Yun's Hung saw the face of the man in his arms with his eyes closed and holding back the dampness, and vaguely felt somewhat inexplicable peace of mind and familiarity. I don't know how long. Clouds gather and rain. The bedpost ceased its turbulence with a lengthened whine. In front of the mirror, staring at the person in the mirror with a slightly complicated expression. Chu Yun's Hung is 28 years old, an orphan, and dropped out of primary school. In these short 28 years, he has worked as a cleaner in a garbage dump, as a corpse carrier in a funeral home, and later started a business from scratch, but was found out when the company was just listed cancer. Afterwards, he sold the property and set up a laboratory. After 6 years, he miraculously developed the most effective anti-cancer drug in the world, and was called a medical genius by countless people. But unfortunately, the drug he developed was too late to save him. He still didn't seem to live to be 29 years old. The memory before his death was already very vague, but the judgment in Chu Yunshen's brain told him that he was already dead and reborn in a novel. This sounds very bizarre, but the extra memory and the so-called plot in his mind told Chu Yun's Hung that this is the real thing. Bloodshot. The man's name is also Chu Yun's Hung, and he is 35 years old this year. In terms of age, the original body is already a middle-aged and old man, but unlike ordinary middle-aged and old men, the original body is a down-and-out actor who was once a household name but is now caught in a scandal. Is also a villain cannon fodder in this novel world. And this novel tells the story of the rise of a superstar. The protagonist of the novel Taoan is the assistant of the big star Yin Zheng. Although he is a bit dull and has little experience, he is very considerate of Yin Zheng and works steadily. Yin Zheng became famous at a young age and has a bad temper. He often reprimands Taoan, who is not smart enough, and thinks he is clumsy. But Taoan has no complaints, and is still honest and well behaved. Slowly, Taoan also saw that, although Yin Zheng was very picky about him on the surface, he actually took care of him very much, and he was very protective of his shortcomings. For mistakes he made without experience, Yin Zheng would ignore him, blame him and make up for him. After he gained experience and his work went smoothly, he heard Yin Zheng say that he planned to make him his agent. Taoan was very happy after learning about it, and regardless of Yin Zheng's cold face, he even opened a few bottles of beer to celebrate his promotion. But everything changed after Taoan had a car accident. The soul of a third-rate actor from another world penetrated into Taoan's body, and the original Taoan died in a car accident. Taoan, the transmigrator, did not want to be an assistant or an agent when he woke up, but wanted to continue his dream of being an actor. Yin Zheng was a little surprised, but he respected Taoan's dream and offered to help him, but Taoan refused, saying that he wanted to prove himself and didn't need charity from others. Yin Zheng was angry and quarreled with Taoan and left. The traveler Taoan was very disgusted with the self-righteous flow vase like Yin Zheng, and completely broke with Yin Zheng. Without Yin Zheng's help, Taoan went everywhere for audition opportunities, but all failed. He is not a student, and his connections are based on Yin Zheng, so one can imagine how difficult it will be for him and Yin Zheng to fall out. Just when Taoan was desperate, he was hinted by a little director because of his handsome and cute appearance. Taoan angrily refused, but also offended people. The little director drugged him and wanted to force him to submit, but he didn't expect Taoan to force himself out and run into another protagonist of the novel, the Zhou Group president, Zhou Zian. After a night of thunder and fire, Taoan fled. Zhou Zian knew what to eat, but he didn't know how to pursue others, so he just dumped resources on Taoan. After Taoan left, she soon found out that she was pregnant. He panicked and feared, but he quickly accepted the little life in his stomach and decided to work harder to make money and raise children. Faced with the resources Zhou Zian gave him, on the one hand, he felt that Zhou Zian was human and beastly, and on the other hand, he thought it was what Zhou Zian owed him and the children, so he took it without mercy. Because of the accumulation of acting skills in the previous life and the support of Zhou Zian, Taoan became popular with just one play. The sudden popularity, coupled with Zhou Zian's frequent visits to the class during filming, made many people jealous of Taoan and secretly stumbled upon him. On one occasion, someone bribed the media and posted a lot of intimate photos of Yin Zheng and Taoan during Taoan's assistantship. No one dares to offend Zhou Zian, but many people will not be soft-hearted in the face of Yin Zheng, who is acting as a vase. They hyped up Taoan and Yin Zheng's parenting scandal on the internet, and also took out more intimate photos and revelations of Taoan when he was Yin Zheng's assistant, which is convincing. Homosexuality has not been widely accepted by the public. Once this label is attached to an artist, it will have a great negative impact, especially a traffic star like Yin Zheng. The news reached Zhou Zian's ears, and he immediately contacted him to deal with it to protect Taoan. And out of jealousy towards Yin Zheng, Zhou Zian let go of the news on Yin Zheng. Yin Zheng went to Taoan and wanted to hold a press conference to explain that the two were not related, but Taoan remembered the picture of Yin Zheng sneering at him as an assistant. He didn't want to help Yin Zheng, but he realized that this was a good opportunity for him to be higher. Therefore, Taoan promised Yin Zheng on the surface, but at the press conference, he hinted that the media Yin Zheng had touched him many times during his assistantship, wanted to violate him, and was also jealous. To prevent his dream of entering the entertainment industry, he couldn't bear it, so he resigned and left. Yin Zheng never thought that Taoan at this time was no longer the Taoan before. His reputation as an unspoken rule was confirmed at the press conference. He has a bad temper, offended many people, and has no close friends, so with the help of Zhou Zian and Taoan, Yin Zhengqiang was pushed by everyone, and countless black materials that were hard to distinguish between true and false were exposed. A movie that Yin Zheng was shooting was affected, the director was temporarily replaced, and Taoan, with the help of Zhou Zian, replaced Yin Zheng as the new male lead. After the movie was released, someone edited the comparison of Taoan and Yin Zheng's acting skills. Although Taoan is not an old actor, he is much stronger than Yin Zheng's vase. Since then, Yin Zheng fell down hard, and completely hated Taoan. At this time, Taoan's pregnancy could not be concealed. Zhou Ziyan immediately proposed to Taoan after knowing it. Taoan was moved by Zhou Ziyan's silent dedication and could not do without Zhou Ziyan's favor, so he agreed to propose. Taoan and Zhou Ziyan flew abroad to get married and were preparing for production abroad. Zhou Ziyan put down the work at hand and accompanies Taoan every day for a walk and chooses baby products. They thought that if they were abroad, they would not be discovered if they had the Zhou family to take care of them. But I didn't expect that Yin Zheng, who had been forgotten by the snow, accidentally saw the two of them and took a photo, which he planned to sell to entertainment magazines. However, before Yin Zheng could act, those photos were discovered by Zhou Ziyan. Without Yin Zheng's harassment, Taoan successfully gave birth to a cute little boy, and returned to the entertainment circle, honing his acting skills step by step, winning all the domestic and foreign actor trophies, becoming the youngest in China world-class actor. After he became famous, his love with Zhou Ziyan also became a good story and was blessed by fans all over the world. At the end of the novel, Yin Zheng was released from prison and drove frantically into Zhou Ziyan and Taoan, but Zhou Ziyan, who had been monitoring him for a long time, saw everything. Yin Zheng didn't hit the Zhou family's car, but the brakes failed, and he fell down the mountain road and died. Since then, the villain was killed, and the prince took the little prince and lived a happy life together. Dr. Chu expressed some discomfort with the three views of such a so-called sweet pet novel. Especially after he became one of them. The original Chu Yunzheng is a cannon fodder in the novel. Yin Zheng was robbed of his role after the press conference. When he was criticized for his poor acting skills, he also thought about calming down, ignoring foreign affairs, and hone his acting skills. Chu Yunzheng, the actor of the youngest drama Bone. The original body has not acted in a movie for a long time. It is rumored that after winning the Best Actor, I want to study for a period of time. But in fact, the original body has been trapped in the previous psychopathic role, unable to get out, the mental pressure is too great, and the talent of acting is gradually polished. This sense of crisis made the original body helpless and hopeless, and gradually suffered from mental illness. But the 35-year-old single figure lived alone, and the manager was ordered not to come over, so no one knew his mental state. Until Yin Zheng arrives, he asks for advice on Chu Yunzhen's acting skills. Chu Yunzheng was stimulated, psychologically distorted, and the suppressed nerves completely exploded. On the surface, he played a gentle and amiable senior, but behind his back he brought a glass of wine to Yin Zheng. Yin Zheng fell into a coma after drinking. Chu Yunzheng took many unsightly photos of Yin Zheng, forcing him to bully Yin Zheng, and trying to destroy Yin Zheng. Yin Zheng was on the verge of collapse, and made a final determination to reveal Chu Yunzhen's true face, but Zhou Ziyan suppressed the news. Yin Zheng was completely blackened, injured Chu Yunzheng, fled with infamy, and became the villain who secretly wanted to retaliate against Zhou Ziyan and Taoan. Yin Zheng fled abroad and went to jail again, but he never forgot Chu Yunzheng. The torture in prison magnified all his hatred. After being released from prison, he first stabbed Chu Yunzheng to death, and then drove to Taoan and Zhou Ziyan. Dr. Chu believes that he is not a good and virtuous person, but in his opinion, there is too much garbage in this novel, it is almost a whole garbage recycling yard. And really, the only innocent person in this novel may be Yin Zheng, who was labeled a blackened villain by the author. Chu Yunzheng looked at the mirror in front of him. A note appeared on it at some point. Mission: change Yin Zheng's fate. Reward: 1 chance to make a wish. Failure: no penalty. He glanced and tore off the note. But before pinching it firmly, the note turned into a puff of fine dust and disappeared from the fingers. Such a strange picture made Chu Yun raised his eyebrows slightly, and had some confidence in the content of this note. But whether it is the power of ghosts or gods or high-tech products, Chu Yunzheng doesn't care. There's just one thing he's weird about. The plot stage he is now entering is exactly when Chu Yunzheng first met Yin Zheng and prescribed medicine to Yin Zheng. This section is described in the novel, only Chu Yunzheng took pictures, and there is no other behavior. More importantly, the original body is not gay, but just found out that Yin Zheng is a piece of jade, jealous and distorted in his heart, and does not have too many thoughts about Yin Zheng physically, so the original body will not sleep with Yin Zheng at all. If according to the original plot, then Chu Yunzheng directly deleted the photos taken by the original body, and waited for Yin Zheng to sleep well before trying to explain it, like a good teacher to guide Yin Zheng's acting. That's it. But now very good. He really put people to sleep. 2 seconds, Chu Yunzheng calmly accepted this fact. He looked at the place where Yin Zheng was overused, where the legs were in a mess, red and swollen. He bowed his head slightly, just in line with those red and angry phoenix eyes. Although Yin Zheng is thin, he is still a man. As soon as he stepped down, Chu Yunzhen's waist immediately turned blue. But instead of hiding, he grabbed the leg, took a step forward, and directly pressed Yin Zheng against the wall. Yin Zheng struggled desperately. The face that became more and more gorgeous due to anger was close at hand, and the bitten red, swollen and injured lips trembled with anger, the grass mud ma chuiun sound. I castrated you. Hearing this chilling threat, Chu Yunzheng didn't react much. He didn't even think about explaining anything. It is true that he slept, although the headache was dizzy and a little weird before, this was not an excuse to get rid of the responsibility. And he didn't want to find any excuses to deceive Yin Zheng. You want to castrate me? Chu Yunzheng asked. Yin Zheng stared at him, his chest heaving violently, forcing a sneer. Isn't it the first time you did this? A perverted scum like you should be castrated. Chu Yunzheng, okay. I promise. The tense atmosphere was stagnant. Yin Zheng's sneer froze inexplicably. Promise? What do you promise? His face suddenly went blank and he froze for a moment. You promised me to castrate you. Chu Yunzheng took advantage of him for a moment, unscrewed the shower head on the wall, washed away the liquid and traces on his body, and his voice was low and calm. You can castrate me, or you can beat me to hate me, but all of this will come after you learn to act. You are very talented, but you haven't studied systematically and have no guidance. You are too focused, and if you want to act well, don't pay too much attention to external affairs. Yin Zheng's eyes were shocked and complicated, and there was a strong suspicion. A man's understatement that he promised to be castrated is simply a fantasy. Yin Zheng doubted for a while that he hadn't woken up at all, he was probably dreaming. He stared straight at Chu Yunzheng, as if to distinguish what Chu Yunzheng was thinking. Don't think too much. Chu Yunzheng lowered his head to give him a bath. I made a mistake, I should pay the price. Yin Zheng felt that he was inexplicably shocked by Chu Yunzhen's calm and perverted attitude. He didn't know what to say for a while, and he forgot to stop Chu Yunzheng from rubbing against him. In fact, it was Chu Yunzheng who gave Yin Zheng a bath and the same standard as washing cats and dogs. In addition, Yin Zheng considers himself a big man, and there is no such thing as being taken advantage of. Chu Yunzheng got on him, he only had hatred and revenge, and he didn't have much vigilance. In a normal state where he is not in a coma, he who has learned Sanda knocked down a 35-year-old man. You wash the inside. Chu Yunzheng released Yin Zheng and exited the shower area. Go. Yin Zheng picked up the shower gel and smashed it. There was a crackling sound in the bathroom for a while, and it was estimated that everything that could be smashed was smashed. After waiting for a while, it was quiet inside except for the sound of rushing water. Chu Yunzheng left the bathroom door and cleaned up the bedroom. Messy clothes, dirty sheets. When Chu Yunzheng was still alive, he was single for many years, and his housework was perfect. This season is spring, everything recovers, and the climate is warm. He opened the window to let in the wind, and noticed a few sneaky figures outside the villa, which should be paparazzi. The original body has recently been caught in a cheating scandal, and is the so-called male junior in the scandal. Although according to the original body's memory, he and the actress were just ordinary friends, but the media who could not stand to catch the wind could make it up. The actress did not know whether it was intentional or unintentional, and neither admitted nor issued a statement denying it. The original body is on the verge of collapse, and I have seen strong winds and waves, so I don't have the heart to pay attention to them and let them jump there. Boom! The bathroom door was kicked open. Chu Yunzheng closed the window, raised his hand to close the curtain, turned around, wrapped in a bath towel, stood on the floor with his neck raised like a fighting cock, pursing his lips tightly, a look of anger and arrogance. Of course, if the marks on his body weren't so dazzling, maybe his aura would be stronger. I was bitten by a dog, Shadow Emperor Chu. Yin Zheng said coldly, I don't want to see you in the future. Don't try to threaten me with this matter. You'd better be careful and stop attacking others. Don't think I dare not take this when the incident broke out. You know my current situation, those who are barefoot are not afraid of those who wear shoes, the big deal is that we all die together. He took a shower and had calmed down from his previous rage and shock. His initial impression of Chu Yunzheng was the same as the outside world, gentle as jade, gentleman's style, a very considerate senior. But now, he only saw Chu Yunzheng's hypocrisy, despicableness, and pervertedness. He didn't want to have anything to do with this pervert at all. Yin Zheng bent over to pick up the clothes. Chu Yunzheng looked at him, there are reporters outside, I advise you best not to leave. Yin Zheng put on his clothes for a while. He walked out of Chu Yunzheng's house with such a clearly finished gesture, one could imagine the consequences. No back door. Yin Zheng stared at him, don't you have a car in the parking lot that the media won't watch? No. Chu Yunzheng opened the door of the cloakroom, took out a casual suit from a closet and threw it to Yin Zheng, wear it first. I heard that the Dian dynasty you were filming changed males the protagonist. Emperor Yan Wu, you are not suitable for this role, so it's better to change it. Yin Zheng grabbed the casual clothes and wanted to pounce on Chu Yunzheng. Can you speak human words? Who am I not suitable for? Taoan is suitable. His legs were a little weak, and his whole body was shaking with anger. He sat on the bed and changed his clothes, that ungrateful villain, stabbed in the back, damn it. I really have been in bad luck for 8 lifetimes to meet such a bastard. Egg. Cursing, he suddenly raised his head, his eyes nailed to Chu Yunzheng like a knife. I'm not gay. He said, you me, do you think I'm casual? I don't like men, even if I like men, gays aren't all casuals. But you're a scumbag. Chu Yunzheng, after taking the medicine and pretending to be a gentleman, is it disgusting? As if a switch was suddenly turned on, Yin Zheng scolded and sneered, greeting all the 18 generations of Chu Yunzheng's ancestors from top to bottom. Chu Yunzheng opened the small refrigerator in the bedroom, took out a cooling ice stick, tore it open and pressed it on Yin Zheng's forehead. Yin Zheng scolded himself very much and didn't notice Chu Yunzheng's approach at all, until he was pushed down on the bed and his forehead was cold before he reacted, what do you want to do? You have a fever. Chu Yunzheng pulled the quilt over him. Yin Zheng stopped scolding, raised his hand to touch his cheek, and shivered from the heat. I'll cook some porridge, and you'll take the antipyretic. Go to sleep, I can't come in if you don't open the door. Yin Zheng turned to look at the key and sneered, who knows if it's true or not. You still have credibility. Chu Yunzheng ignored his thorny words, went out and took it to the door, and went to the kitchen to cook porridge. The original body has been closed for more than a week, and there are not many ingredients in the refrigerator, but there are several garbage bags piled up in the takeaway box. Chu Yunzheng cut some shredded chicken, cooked a bowl of porridge, and took out the antipyretic and anti-inflammatory medicines, and brought them upstairs. The door was unlocked. Yin Zheng was leaning on the head of the bed, looking down at a script. The script Yin Zheng was reading was deliberately found when he was cleaning the bedroom and put it on the bedside table. For acting, even if Chu Yunzheng integrates the memory of the original body, it is impossible to achieve it overnight and reach the level of an actor, so he has no plans to teach Yin Zheng to act. Yin Zheng has talent and spirituality in acting. That's why the original body became jealous as soon as he came into contact with Yin Zhenfu, and wanted to destroy this junior who was most likely to catch up and surpass himself. The reason why Yin Zheng has always been called the flow vase, as Chu Yunzheng said before, is that he was born in a non-major class. He never really studied, he was taught well, and he polished everything when he debuted at a young age. Talent went the wrong way. The second is that Yin Zheng, as a small fresh meat with traffic, relies far more on popularity than strength, so he pays too much attention to external evaluations, is too sensitive to all troubles, and is too complicated to concentrate on studying acting skills. But Yin Zheng is not really stupid. At this time, he has realized his own shortcomings and dilemmas, so he will come to the original body to seek breakthrough and growth. I just didn't expect that the original body completely pushed him into the abyss of shattering bones. Although Chu Yunzheng was not very confident in teaching acting in person, he did not intend to let Yin Zheng leave just like that. If you can't teach it yourself, ask someone who can teach it. In the memory of the original body, this decadent period is not completely without a contract. There are many big directors who are attracted by the previous role's acting skills and invite him to participate in their new films. Among these many big directors, a little-known director was mixed in. The script that Yin Zheng is reading now was sent by this little director. Chu Yunzheng chose it, firstly because it was mentioned in the plot that the film won an award at the end of the year, and secondly because this little director has a small reputation, but his qualifications are not small at all, and compared to the jerky new director and the big director with an explosive temper, this young director is not only experienced and can train actors, but also has a gentle temper and loves patient guidance. He is a very responsible and focused person. He has the experience and talent of a great guide, treats newcomers kindly, and is happy to discover the original jade. Chu Yunzheng flipped through his memory and chose this eldest brother as Yin Zheng's new teacher. In addition, the film has insufficient funds in the early stage, there is no publicity, and it cannot afford to hire big-name actors, so the filming is completely closed, and all actors are pulled by the director, which is very suitable for the current Yin Zheng. Interested? Chu Yunzheng walked in and put down the porridge and medicine. Yin Zheng raised his head, as if he noticed that Chu Yunzheng was coming in, and put down the script awkwardly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch your things. This script is well written. Chu Yunzheng looked at Yin Zheng's eyes wandering and was in a hurry, and suddenly wanted to laugh. You scolded me without showing your teeth. It's just that there is no legal judgment that men are coerced, and you are also a public figure, so it's not good to make trouble. He pulled over a chair and sat down. I accept your lynching. Also, do you like this script? I will recommend you to play the second male lead. Yin Zheng was really surprised. He felt that Chu Yunzheng might suffer from some kind of mental illness. Although the cost and compensation, these things are normal in some respects, but from Chu Yunzheng's mouth, there is an inexplicable aura of illness. Yin Zheng can be tough in the face of rapists, but in the face of mental illness, he is a little cowardly. But he still captured the key point of the second half of Chu Yunzheng's sentence, do you recommend me to act? Trash, it's all my new label. I've been frozen. And, as you said, I'm too bad at acting. Yin Zheng lowered his eyes, not realizing that he was being led by the nose. Chu Yunzheng sat on the chair motionless, and said lightly, oh, don't get me wrong. I am notifying you, not asking for your opinion. I will join the group with you in a week, and the salary will be paid. No, disconnect from the internet, generate electricity for love, and prepare yourself mentally. Okay, let's have some porridge. Yin Zheng, drink. I will castrate you now. Chu Yunzheng ignored the angry Yin Zheng, went downstairs calmly, ordered 2 bowls of noodles for himself, and then ate them clean. Going to bed and being beaten are really physical work. In the evening, Yin Zheng's fever subsided and his condition recovered a little. From the outside, there was nothing abnormal, so Chu Yunzheng went downstairs to send him away. The fact that Yin Zheng came to visit in the morning fell into the eyes of many people. If it was getting dark, it would be troublesome. Yin Zheng, who had lost his fever, seemed to have finally regained his sanity. He put on a cold face that was at a distance, and smiled at Chu Yunzheng without a smile. You can see that their talk has collapsed, and the relationship is so bad that it is almost a fight on the spot. I'm bothering Teacher Chu today, bye. Yin Zheng waved his hand perfunctorily, without even looking at Chu Yunzheng. He got into the car, slammed the accelerator into the dust, and sprayed Chu Yunzheng with car exhaust. Chu Yunzheng didn't care about Yin Zheng's reaction. When he was sorting out the plot of the original novel, he roughly analyzed Yin Zheng. Yin Zheng's appearance is bright and flamboyant, belonging to the kind of aggressive beauty, highly recognizable, easy to remember at a glance, unforgettable. And his character is also flamboyant and wanton, just like the dazzling scorching sun at noon. No matter where he stands, he is dazzling and focused, and he is a typical star material. Yin Zheng made his debut at the age of 16 and became an instant hit. The influence of his youth and fame on him is unimaginable. On the one hand, he has a good talent. He has been held in the hands of millions of fans in the past 10 years, coaxed by his agent, and developed an arrogant and willful temper. On the other hand, because he entered the circle too early and became famous too early, he was exposed to all kinds of turbidity in the entertainment circle before he was mature. The young man's mind is very sensitive, and when he encounters an attack from the outside world, he will instinctively erect spikes to protect himself. As a result, Yin Zheng gave most people the impression of being arrogant, irritable, and fond of playing big names. But this is only a symptom. He was held up very high, and it hurts enough to fall down this time. Yin Zheng did not fall down because of this, but actively sought change. His heart was called firm and brave, much stronger than many idols who were vulnerable to a single blow. Most importantly, he has self-knowledge. In the face of Chu Yunzhen sleeping with him, Yin Zheng's performance was very contradictory, both strong and weak, and even in Chu Yunzhen's mild and neurotic performance, he showed an indiscernible expression soften and doubt. This shows that he is very sensitive to people's emotions, is a little shaken by Chu Yunzhen's good and evil, and has a bit of stupid innocence in his bones. To a certain extent, if he is deceived, he will give people money. This is also very clear in the original plot. Yin Zheng is very easy to trust people. Under such circumstances, Chu Yunzheng was willing to let him go and pull him up, which was precisely because of his naivety. And Chu Yunzheng knew that, whether it was Yin Zheng who was naive, or Yin Zheng who had the upper hand after the fever subsided, he would not refuse his help. Because he wants to get up and this is his best chance. After sending Yin Zheng away, Chu Yunzheng returned to the study and called the director. The director's surname is Zhang and his name is Zhang Fifan. When he heard that Chu Yunzheng was willing to take the show, Director Zhang was overjoyed and kept laughing. No problem, no problem. Teacher Chu hasn't picked up the movie for a long time, here I am. In fact, I didn't hold out much hope. Now it's a pie in the sky, isn't it, just to bring more people into the group? No problem, even newcomers, most of my crew are newcomers, just bring them together, not new. Chu Yunzhen's voice was low and laughing, completely different from when he faced Yin Zheng. You should also know Yin Zheng, who just terminated his contract with Hanhai Entertainment. He has a good relationship with my mentor, and he came to me today. I think he also has talent, so I want to take him. Director Zhang was surprised. Yin Zheng. His tone was hesitant. Mr. Chu, it's not that I refute your face, but Yin Zheng's salary is sky high, even if he is involved in the scandal now. My crew invites you, I'm afraid I won't be able to invite him. Chu Yunzheng smiled. Director Zhang, don't be nervous, Yin Zheng and I are willing to perform this play for zero pay. Zero pay? Chu Yunzheng said, yes. But I hope that when filming this film, Director Zhang can put more attention on Yin Zheng, teach him, and hone his acting skills. Director, I choose to take on this drama. One is that I like the script very much, and the other is that I like Director Zhang's ability to train actors. As long as Director Zhang doesn't mind the recent news. Director Zhang held the phone and almost thought he was dreaming. He quickly weighed the pros and cons in his heart, quickly gritted his teeth, made a decision, and said with a smile, "This is Teacher Chu trusting me. Okay, since it is a person whom Teacher Chu values, I am sure gotta grind hard." Chu Yunzheng, thank you Director Zhang. But I hope this matter is kept secret to avoid unnecessary trouble. No problem, Mr. Chu, I am very strict. Director Zhang agreed simply. Although this kind of thing is a gimmick, it can attract the attention of all parties. But in general, the harm outweighs the benefit, and Director Zhang prefers to film in a quiet way rather than a storm. Otherwise, he would not have been tepid for so many years. Zhang Fifei has a good reputation in the industry, and he is not a person who reneges on his promises, even if this matter is settled. The two exchanged a few more words and hung up the phone after confirming that they would join the group a week later. After making the decision, Chu Yunzheng dug out Yin Zheng's number, sent him a message, and informed him. Yin Zheng naturally did not reply. Chu Yunzheng didn't care either. After dinner, he sat back at the table and began to read the complete script sent by Zhang Fifan. He decided to take advantage of the week before joining the group to study and use the acting buff on the original body, and strive to reach a normal level. In addition, he checked the deposit in the original card. Between acting to make money and continuing to develop his medical career, he hesitated and chose to start a company. If you want to change Yin Zheng's fate, it is not enough to teach Yin Zheng to act. Zhou Ziyan's status as the president of Zhou's is destined to be much higher than that of ordinary stars. Under the attack of power and money, his famous acting skills cannot even last a minute. The news that Chu Yunzheng helped Yin Zheng spread, Zhou Ziyan would definitely be angry. Whether it is for Yin Zheng or himself, Chu Yunzheng must have the ability to deal with Zhou Ziyan. He's experienced, he's just starting from scratch, nothing. Recalling some experimental inventions that he had done in his spare time, Chu Yunzheng turned on the computer and made a few calls. In the next week, Chu Yunzheng was completely busy as a spinning top, starting a company, applying for patents, and taking time to travel abroad. Yin Zheng didn't look for him during this time, and he didn't have time to contact Yin Zheng. Until the day before entering the group, sitting on the plane, the two did not meet the second side. Yin Zheng is alone. He just terminated the contract with Hanhai Entertainment and paid a large amount of liquidated damages. The agent left and the assistant did not invite him. He just carried a small suitcase and boarded the plane. Sitting in your seat and looking down on your phone. When Chu Yunzheng saw him, Yuan Mengzheng, the agent next to him, whispered in a low voice, his tone was full of resentment, "I said Lao Chu, you are too casual. I know that sometimes you can ignore everything in acting, but for such a big thing, you are still so arbitrary. We have been friends for so many years, that is, I can put up with you." Yuan Meng scolded with anger. From the manager's point of view, he didn't want Chu Yunzheng to get caught in Yin Zheng's muddy waters, and starred in small production films with zero pay, only asking the director to guide Yin Zheng. Coupled with Yin Zheng's recent reputation as an unspoken assistant and homosexuality, Yuan Meng is very clear about what will happen when the news spreads. But from a friend's point of view, Yuan Meng has read the script and has to admit that this male protagonist is indeed different from all the previous roles of Chu Yunzheng, and it is an opportunity to seek a breakthrough in acting skills. The development and tempering of acting skills has always been Chu Yunshen's paranoia. Although with Chu Yunshen's status, there are many good characters, you can choose casually, but Chu Yunsheng, the actor, also has shortcomings. Most of the characters I have played are villains who are warm in appearance but not very normal in psychology. It is not that they have never played other roles, but those who have won awards and are outstanding are all such roles. His screen image is somewhat solidified, and most directors prefer him to continue to play such roles, so most of the scripts sent are like this. Chu Yunsheng wants to break this situation and seek change, which is normal. And Chu Yunshen's decision is not something he can easily change. Yuan Meng sighed resignedly, found a seat, and was about to sit down and continue talking. When he turned his head, he saw Chu Yunsheng actually crossed the seat and walked forward. Chu Yunsheng stopped behind Yin Zheng and glanced at Yin Zheng's phone screen. Yin Zheng is on Weibo. There is an almost one-sided trend on the internet. Marketing accounts and some 18th-tier stars are also forwarding. Some imply that Yin Zheng is not good enough, harass male stars privately, and some step on Yin Zheng to show his innocence of. Yin Zheng looked down at the comments, his fingers swiping on the screen trembled with anger. Don't watch if you don't want to. Chu Yunsheng swiped Yin Zheng's cell phone, turned it off neatly, took out the phone card, and threw it to Yin Zheng. I'll keep the phone for you. Yin Zheng didn't seem to have expected that Chu Yunsheng would be on the same flight as him. He was robbed of his mobile phone and was stunned for a moment before he reacted and glanced around. Seeing that no one was paying attention, he pressed down on fire. He said, "It's none of your business. Give me your mobile phone, you know it violates your right to privacy." As he spoke, he reached out and grabbed it. Chu Yunsheng stuffed the phone into his pocket, grabbed Yin Zheng's hand, pressed it back, and added a bit of sternness to his plain tone. I'll join the group now, and concentrate on acting. Don't worry about this. You didn't bring an agent assistant, so I have something to ask Yuan Meng these days. Yin Zheng couldn't understand what was stuffed in Chu Yunshen's head. He felt like he was going to explode as soon as he met this person. Are you sick? Yin Zheng lowered his voice and gritted his teeth. Why do you care about me? Don't think that I agreed to come to the crew as a compromise with you. If you dare to do anything to me, I will. Well, you castrated me. Chu Yunsheng patted Yin Zheng's head. The dark circles under the eyes are very heavy, so get some sleep. After he finished speaking, he ignored Yin Zheng's reaction, turned around and left, and sat back in his seat. After taking a seat, Chu Yunsheng tilted his head and said a few words to Yuan Meng, and looked down at the script, his expression as usual. Yuan Meng looked at it with a probe, and his eyes were strange. Yin Zheng looked at the back, so angry that he almost jumped up and beat Chu Yunsheng to death. But he didn't move. He froze in his seat for a few minutes, only to find that Chu Yunsheng didn't look at him anymore, and then slowly relaxed his body and squatted on the seat, looked confused for a while, and closed it tiredly. Framed, hidden, scandal, contract termination. The agent left, the company gave up, and the media poured dirty water. During this period, Yin Zheng fell into an unprecedented low point, and everything in his life seemed to be full of malice towards him. He didn't dare to think about these things, for fear that the strength he had finally accumulated would completely collapse under this crazy blow. He has been insomnia for a long time, no one cares about him, and the only person who is willing to help him is a pervert. Yin Zheng thought drowsily, tilted his head and fell asleep. Shortly after takeoff, Chu Yunsheng noticed Yin Zheng's quietness, thought about it, put down the script and walked over, and sure enough he saw Yin Zheng frowning and falling asleep restlessly. He is much thinner than a week ago, and he is quite haggard. It should be warm. Chu Yunsheng didn't understand the feeling of distress. But Yin Zheng's appearance made him a little unhappy. Yuan Meng watched his series of operations from behind, and was surprised. Old Chu, you are single until now, you shouldn't really. Don't think about it. Chu Yunzheng glanced at him lightly, but did not explain much. Although Yuan Meng has been friends with the original body for many years, Yuan Meng does not know much about the original body, at least the spiritual world of this actor. Yuan Meng is not very clear. Before the plane landed, Yin Zheng woke up. Seeing the blanket and the milk with the right temperature, he didn't seem to think too much. After drinking the milk, he sat down and looked out the porthole. Zhang Feifei's play is called Sky Blue Kill, and the background is in the period of the anti-Japanese war in the Republic of China. The main filming location chosen by the crew is a small town in the south. The buildings of the Republic of China are quite well preserved, and there is also a warlord's mansion, which has a strong sense of age. The story of this play is mainly developed in Shanghai Beach, but the current Shanghai Beach poor crew is afraid that they can't make it, so they can only settle for the next best thing and come to this small town to make do. Although the architecture of this small town is not as good as that of Shanghai Beach, it is worse than the prototype, and there are not many tourists. There is also a small film and television base nearby for the shooting of the Republic of China drama. It's the perfect choice for a good price. When Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng arrived, almost all the production staff were there. The crew will start the production in 5 days. The reason why Chu Yunzheng chose to join the crew now is to take Yin Zheng to participate in the script seminar these days. He just happened to be eavesdropping. The original body is an actor after all, and the memory in his mind is complete. Chu Yunzheng has gained some confidence in acting these days. However, imagination and practice are different. Moreover, the original body has never tried this kind of role, so Chu Yunzheng must not be taken lightly. Since you are determined to do one thing, you must go all out. Chu Yunzheng has always been such a person. The residence of the impoverished crew of Sky Blue Kill is a long-term rented homestay with a limited budget. Originally, only one suite was vacated for Chu Yunzheng, but now Yin Zheng is here again. There is no room. Zhang Feifei, the director, is still crowded with the screenwriter. Director Zhang made the decision, replaced the big bed in Chu Yunzheng's room with 2 single beds, and stuffed Yin Zheng inside. In the bedroom, Yin Zheng looked at the 2 pitiful single beds less than 1 meter apart, his face sinking like water. Chu Yunzheng went out to see Yuan Meng. Yuan Meng just met with the crew and arranged an assistant for Chu Yunzheng, and would not stay. Chu Yunzheng glanced at the haggard Yin Zheng before leaving the room, and said, "You take a shower first." The voice paused, remembering his slight cleanliness, and instructed again, "Wash it up." Then the door slammed shut. Yin Zheng turned his head and stared at the door, his face instantly turned red and green, green and red, just like a human-shaped traffic light. In a few minutes, Yin Zheng took off his coat and rolled up his sleeves, and dragged the single bed to the small living room. Who the wants to be in the same room with the person who swells his chrysanthemum? It turns out that Yin Zheng really thinks too much. Chu Yunzheng returned after seeing Yuan Meng, and he did not express any opinion on Yin Zheng's move to move the bed to the living room, and his reaction was very calm. In order to celebrate the addition of Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng, director Zhang Feifei and Zhang ruthlessly took out 1,000 yuan in the evening, invited the crew to a restaurant, and brought everyone closer. Most of the crew members are Zhang Feihan's old team, they are strict, and there is nothing messy. Chatting, there is harmony at the dinner table. The crew will have a script seminar the next morning, so there is no other arrangement for the evening. Chu Yunzheng didn't drink much, went back to the room to take a shower, and lay down early to sleep. He is not an iron man, and the busyness of these days has exhausted him. As soon as his head hit the bed, his consciousness immediately became drowsy. The exact opposite of Dr. Chu is Yin Zheng, who tossed and turned in the small living room to get his wrapped. Still feel unsafe. I woke up 3 or 4 times a night, all dreaming that Chu Yunzheng lifted his quilt and pinched him. Yin Zheng felt that he could never bear this grievance before, but now, he has to bear it. The next morning, the script workshop was held in the director's room. Chu Yunzheng, who was in high spirits, and Yinzheng, who seemed to be hollowed out, occupied two single sofas, and read the revised second draft script without interfering with each other. On the couch opposite, the director, screenwriter, and producer are all twisting together and fighting. The three parties have different opinions on the revised script, and they hold their own opinions. Neither soft or hard. Wang screenwriter is naturally the most satisfied with his script, and does not want to make a third revision, which takes time and effort, and may overturn the original character and logic. Movies pay more attention to the logic and plot of each link than TV dramas. Once there is a problem with the rhythm, the level of the whole movie will be greatly reduced. Director Zhang Feifan is a typical artist's idea. He is very optimistic about the script, but he always feels that it is missing something, so he thoughtfully changed it. Of course, the producer hopes that the script can abandon some obscure and sensitive parts and enhance the ability to make money. The three parties were tearing up constantly, blushing and arguing roughly. At first, Chu Yunzheng planned to listen to it, but later found that the noise became more and more unhealthy, so he turned his ears and started to read the script. The script of Sky Blue Kill is really good. It is not a commercial film, nor is it a literary film, and even its protagonist is not a likable positive character. But what this script wants to say is somewhat different from most of the Republic of China films or anti-Japanese films on the market. The protagonist of Tianjin Kill, that is, the role that Chu Yunzheng is going to play, is a trafficker during the Republic of China, called Yuan Qing. Human trafficking has a long history and reached its peak in the late Qing dynasty and the Republic of China due to the chaos of the times. Yuan Qing was born in a poor valley. When she was 5 or 6 years old, she was targeted by human traffickers and deceived because of her outstanding appearance. The traffickers sold Yuan Qing to a young couple in the city. The young couple are highly educated, have no children, and are very good to Yuan Qing. But unfortunately, the good times didn't last long. Yuan Qing's young adoptive father was shot and killed by the military police who shot in the street during a protest. The adoptive mother was injured and had to take a lot of medicine. At this time, Yuan Qing was only in his early 10 years, and he was taught very well, with fine skin and tender meat. He would not want such a child who could not work in a shop on the dock. He couldn't, so he had to go from house to beg. In that era of starvation and death, no one had extra leftovers willing to give Yuan Qing. Only some big families didn't care, they would occasionally show kindness and give him a little. Yuan Qing often goes to a few rich families in the city because of her good looks and her ability to say pleasant things. But it is precisely because of her exquisite appearance that Yuan Qing was taken a fancy to by the old man of a family. The old man accepted Yuan Qing as a servant to treat Yuan Qing's adoptive mother. Yuan Qing once regarded the old man as his great benefactor. But on an ordinary night a few years later, the old man attacked Yuan Qing. Yuan Qing resisted and ran away, and accidentally killed the old man. This is where the story of the movie begins. Yuan Qing got his life on his hands for the first time. Human life is a completely different existence in people's hearts. People can kill chickens and geese, cattle and sheep, without too much psychological burden, but killing is different. The days of Yuan Qing were depressing and crazy, and the hallucinations of the old man would appear from time to time. He escaped to a small town, but unexpectedly met the traffickers who had kidnapped him before. Like crazy, he killed the trafficker and inherited the trafficker's property, several years old children. He sat in the dilapidated house with leaks everywhere, staring blankly at the skinny hungry children, and watched like that all night. In such a world, if he let them go, he was sending them to death. But Yuan Qing himself is only a half-teenaged child, unable to support so many mouths. These children are also too young to remember where their homes are, and they can't go home if they have them. Yuan Qing finally decided to sell them. He took them through hardships and dangers, to the big city, and it took a long time, stumbled to choose those kind-hearted parents. This process is too difficult, some of the children starved to death, some children could not bear to go away by themselves, and some children were taken away by other traffickers. Yuan Qing struggled so hard, and did not get it back, but was severely lectured and lame. When he sold all his children, he suddenly found that he was 18 years old, but at 18 he had no means of making a living. He has come into contact with many traffickers over the years, of all types. There are those who are about to starve to death and are forced to take this road, and there are those who give up their conscience for money. It is said that hateful people must be pitiful, but Yuan Qing thinks this sentence is very rogue. He is not pitiful, nor does he forgive any trafficker, including himself. But he considers himself different from other traffickers. He is not as unscrupulous as other human traffickers. As long as he is given money, he will do anything. He does not treat children as human beings. He began to have an idea that he could save those children. So, Yuan Qing began to buy children from other traffickers. This is utterly stupid to all. No one would sell a better child to their peers. Those who are willing to sell to Yuan Qing are either stupid or disabled. Yuan Qing also does not dislike it. He taught these children how to read and write, and sold those that could be sold to good families, and those that could not be brought back to the small village, where they farmed. Not enough to eat, not clothed, or not having the last meal, Yuan Qing's life was a mess. But he was content. Until he saw the body of a child he sold. In this world, there are few good people, how can there be any real good people? Yuan Qing wrapped a straw mat and buried the child. Fu Wushuan and misfortune do not come singly, he was slaughtered by the Japanese army in a small village. Those traffickers took advantage of the situation, and they joined together to mute Yuan Qing. Seeing that he was good-looking, they sold him to a large smoke shop for people's entertainment. Yuan Qing escaped hopelessly and was tortured. He stayed in Yanguan until he was 20 years old and met the second male lead played by Yin Zheng, the warlord Du Minjiao. Du Minjiao took a fancy to him, took him out of the big smokehouse, petted him, loved him, and treated him to the extreme. But it also led him to a deeper abyss. He taught him to smoke opium. Du Minjiao used pampering and smoke to control Yuan Qing, making him an intelligence officer, or a spy. Yuan Qing's past was all shattered, and he began to grow deformed beside Du Minjiao. He stole countless information and killed countless people until one day, Du Minjiao sent someone to kill him. He absconded in despair and was rescued by an ordinary farmer. The farmer's daughter helped him quit smoking. Yuan Qing began to slowly convince himself to let go of the past and fall in love with this girl. However, on the wedding day, a group of Japanese military police stormed in. Everyone is dead and the fire is burning. Yuan Qing woke up. It was the first time he felt so awake. He left the village alive for 3 years. When he reappeared, he became a traitor in other people's mouths, helping the Japanese to do unconscionable things. Reversed the war that was crucial to the Chinese solstice. After the war, instead of dying, he went to court-martial. And his opposite, scolded him for betraying the country and executed him by firing squad, was the child who had been with him the longest. The child shot, Yuan Qing had no excuse. Gunshot. His absurd life is finally over. The major investors dared not bet, and the entire crew made it together, and they were so poor. The producer is still willing to follow the show because of the producer's face. There are too many sensitive topics, and if you are not careful, this film may become a pair of pants. But Chu Yun-sung is very optimistic about this movie. The script seminar was torn for 2 whole days. On the 3rd day, the producer arrived, kicked the director, punched the producer, and fought the screenwriter. All 3 parties were cleaned up. The final draft of the script is not much different from the first version. Zhang Fifei is not too worried about whether Chu Yunchen's acting skills are suitable for Yuan Qing in the age range of teens to 30s and 40s, so these few days he has been wholeheartedly opening a small stove for the vase Yunzheng, and deeply analyze the character Du Minjiao. Chu Yun-sung listened to it several times, and was very impressed with Zhang Fifei's ability to teach people. Dr. Chu himself is a person who can do it himself, but cannot teach others. So he appreciates people who can be teachers. Time flies. The crew arrived quickly. After turning on the phone, the network was disconnected and the connection was disconnected, and the mobile phone was almost handed in. As soon as many supporting roles entered the group, they saw that Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng were so excited that they thought they were dreaming. After confirming the news, I couldn't help but sigh that the crew was really strict, and no one knew about Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zhengzhen's crew. And Taoan has been staring at Yin Zheng. Taoan spent more than 10 years in the entertainment industry before crossing the road. From a small dragon trick to a third-tier actor, the light and darkness of the entertainment industry can be clearly seen. He knows the truth of cutting grass without eradicating its roots. At Yin Zheng's clarification press conference a month ago, since he chose to step on Yin Zheng to take the top position, he must trample people to death, until they are unable to turn over and can't get up again. Otherwise, he knew very well that once Yin Zheng had a chance to make a comeback, he would definitely not end well. And no matter how many people he has offended, how bad his temper is, or how bad his acting skills are, Yin Zheng is a person who has been in this circle for 10 years. A little actor with a firm footing is comparable. Perhaps in the eyes of many people who are friends with Yin Zheng, Taoan, who has fallen into trouble, is a bit more hateful. After all, although Yin Zheng has a bad temper, he is by no means a star who is particularly difficult to serve and loves to make things difficult for others. Of course, it is precisely because of Yin Zheng's dislike of straightness that many people are also shaken, and they really doubt that Yin Zheng is interested in Taoan. These doubters include Zhou Ziyan. Taoan is very aware of Zhou Ziyan's thoughts and will take advantage of this. Now, the second male lead of the movie he grabbed from Yin Zheng has arranged more scenes recently, one after another. In addition, a small part of Yin Zheng's previous scenes needed to be reshot, and the crew was pressed hard, so the task was even more arduous. Under such a high-pressure work arrangement, Taoan still did not forget to occasionally ask an assistant to inquire about the latest news of Yin Zheng. You said, he went to find Chu Yunzheng a few days ago. Taoan sat in the nanny's car, raised her head when she heard the assistant's words, and frowned slightly. The assistant is Taoan's cousin. Taoan didn't trust outsiders at all after passing through Yin Zheng, so after thinking about it, he called his cousin who didn't go to school after graduating from high school from his hometown come over, let the agent Li Lin teach for a while, and arranged to be by his side. Lu Liel is smart and diligent, and has been interested in the entertainment industry for a long time. He hopes that his cousin will take him with him. Although he didn't quite know why Taoan kept inquiring about Yin Zheng's news and sent private investigators to investigate, but thinking about the rumors on the internet and clarifying things at the press conference, he felt that he was still don't ask too much. That's right, cousin. Lu Liel lowered her voice and said, isn't the Chu movie emperor involved in the derailment of the movie Queen Wangxian before? There are a lot of paparazzi staring at him. But then he was a 3 disregard policy. After the studio issued a statement, there was no sound, and there was no work for more than a year, and the popularity was not good, so no one was watching. And when Yin Zheng went to see Chu Yunzheng, Guangming went there in broad daylight and brought an old man with him. Later, when the old man left, Yin Zheng also left before dark, not avoiding anyone at all. It doesn't look like something is going on either. Coupled with the fact that the popular Xiahua has revealed her love affair in the past 2 days, no one like Yin Zheng and Chu Yunzheng is willing to cook. If I hadn't had dinner with that media editor last night and listened to it, I wouldn't have known about it. Lu Liel babbled. Taoan took a sip, and his brows slowly loosened. He has all the memories of the original Taoan, and deeply hates the original body for being a fool. Yin Zheng would yell at Yuan Shen when his temper came up, and occasionally he had a good face, and Yuan Shen would like a dog to come up to please, and Taoan was angry with him. There is no big psychological burden to frame Yin Zheng, anyway. Yin Zheng does not take his original body as a person, and in his opinion, Yin Zheng only has traffic and no acting skills, and a bunch of brain-dead fans are licking Yan's vase as the scum of the entertainment industry. It is best to move the nest as soon as possible. Taoan believes that under normal circumstances, after Yin Zheng is hidden in the snow, he should be depressed and let it go. If he is interested, he should quickly quit the entertainment circle and become an internet celebrity, so that he will not be too ugly. But he didn't expect that Yin Zheng went to find Chu Yunzheng. Taoan had seen a lot of Chu Yunzhen's films when he first got dressed and found his acting skills. He really knows Chu Yunzhen's strength too well. He was a natural actor, a well-deserved actor. Chu Yunzhen's last work before he went to study is The Psycho, which is about a strange world. The world is made up of mediocre people, and all geniuses with high IQs and great creativity are regarded as mentally ill, and from the day they reveal their unusual characteristics, they are put in a mental hospital for treatment. The film revolves around this mental hospital, describing countless grotesque and absurd scenes. Chu Yunzheng plays the male lead, a genius-like lunatic. He knew how to hide since he was a child. After discovering the rules of this world, he put a mediocre shell on himself and tried every means to inherit the mental hospital. He is a patient and director of a mental hospital. He will use his authority and mentally ill people to engage in R&D and creation, carnival like he is really crazy, and he will also be ordinary and cowardly into the mediocre world outside, without arousing anyone's suspicion. At the end of the film, the changes in the mental hospital were discovered, people from the outside rushed in, Chu Yunzheng and the patients used technological weapons to defeat them and control the whole world. He put these people in the mental hospital and looked at them through an iron gate. He thought he had achieved what he wanted and was free. But the finale is not a happy liberation. In the last scene, Chu Yunzheng stood outside the door, but suddenly remembered that many years ago when he was a child, he was only 4 years old, and he was standing outside the mental hospital like this, looking inside. Now the old man has faded into the confused child, he looked at the patient inside and the patient outside, dazed. This is a scene known as a permanent classic. This somewhat absurd film with a bit of cool text got an unexpected sublimation because of the final ending. It is full of irony, profound and thought-provoking, and once won all the heavyweight awards of the year. The male protagonist Chu Yunzheng was nominated for Best Actor at the Jinnah Film Festival, one of the 3 major international film festivals, with this film. Although she did not really win the award, Chu Yunzhen's acting skills are absolutely beyond doubt. Taoan does not believe that Yin Zheng will visit Chu Yunzheng for no reason. The old man Lu Liel said is probably the lead person. Based on Taoan's understanding of Yin Zheng is a small strong man who cannot be beaten to death. The sky is blindly optimistic, and it is really possible that he could go to Chu Yunzheng for help with a shy face. He went to Chu Yunzheng to learn acting or to audition. No matter which one, it is not what Taoan wants to see. But Taoan didn't show anything on the surface. He sent Lu Liel to get a box lunch, and sat in the nanny car to send WeChat to Zhou. Although the first meeting between Taoan and Zhou was not good, the sincerity and ingratitude shown by Zhou recently made him believe in the love Zhou said. Besides, he knew there might be something wrong with his physique as a real man, he was pregnant. He didn't want to be treated as a monster, and he didn't know if a man could have an abortion, so he never acted rashly. Now that his relationship with Zhou is getting better and better, he also feels that he may not need to abort the child anymore. With the love Zhou has shown so far, he should be willing to accept his physique and children. But whether or not to confess, Taoan will have to try again. Thinking like this, Taoan's voice on WeChat couldn't help but become more intimate. Zia Yan, do you know the latest news about Yin Zheng? I heard that he terminated the contract with the company, and wanted to find a time to visit he. Zhou called immediately. Taoan smiled, and when he picked it up, he heard a low and magnetic male voice coming through the microphone. The coldness in his tone was replaced by gentleness. Xiaoan, why do you suddenly remember to ask Yin Zheng? He is terminating the contract with the company. Yes, but it's a decision made by the board, he's in a bad image right now and he's violating his contract. Towan smiled embarrassedly, so it is. I just don't want you to target him. After all, he didn't really do anything, so there's no need to force it so hard. His tone showed a hint of softness towards Yin Zheng. Zhou Zian heard it, her voice changed slightly, she suppressed her displeasure, and continued to say softly, I know, Xiaoan. But only hard-hearted people in this circle can live well, like you. It's not okay to be soft-hearted. Towan was silent for a while, then whispered unhappily, didn't you say you would protect me? Before he finished speaking, he heard Zhou Zian's breathing change. Towan didn't wait for Zhou Zian to say anything, and quickly said Liel is back, I'll eat first, and hung up. On the phone. He wouldn't let Yin Zheng get up. On the other side, the office of President Zhou. Zhou Zian stared at the extinguished mobile phone screen for a while, a gentle and helpless smile appeared on his stern face. But after putting down the phone, his smile disappeared immediately. He picked up another mobile phone and made a call. After learning that Yin Zheng visited Chu Yunzheng and joined Chu Yunzheng in the group Tianjing Kill, a flash of light flashed in his eyes. Ruthless. The crew of Tianjing Kill, nestled in a remote corner, had no idea what was waiting for them in a few days. A group of people are focusing on filming. Chu Yunzheng, as the male protagonist, has a lot of scenes, and he has been running continuously. Yin Zheng's Du Minjiao hasn't appeared so soon, but Yin Zheng is controlled by Chu Yunzheng, has no mobile phone and no internet, except sitting dryly on the small bench watching Chu Yunzhen's acting, there is no other way. And looking at it, Yin Zheng's impression of Chu Yunzheng also gradually changed on the basis of a beast and a hypocrite. Chu Yunzheng is not the original body, but his learning ability is far better than the original body. Otherwise, he would not have been a genius who dropped out of school and could develop anti-cancer drugs. He absorbed all the experience left by the original body like a sponge, and made some adjustments to interpret the protagonist Yuanqing in this movie in an experiential way according to his own ideas. Before shooting, even Zhang Fifei was not very confident that Chu Yunzheng could play the teenage Yuanqing at once, after all, Chu Yunzhen's age is here. But they are such a small and crappy crew, they simply can't invite the protagonists of the right age and good acting skills. If they can invite Chu Yunzheng, they will burn high incense, so don't be so harsh. No one has confidence in Chu Yunzheng. A very real sense of youth inside and out. This kind of teenager feels pure and astringent, but not thin. It is full of suffering, but also full of hope, stable and full of vitality. From the camera, at first glance, people will think that this is a teenager with complicated experiences, but today's life is hard but contented young people. Yin Zheng was amazed. A 35-year-old man, acting as a teenager, he has only seen it in those old actors. And this way of interpretation is not very respected, after all, there may be a sense of disobedience. But in Chu Yunzheng, probably because he had been well maintained and had a good grasp of his psychology and temperament, this sense of disobedience was almost zero. In the two scenes where Chu Yunzheng killed the old man, killed the trafficker, and struggled with the children all night, Yin Zheng was even more shocked. This is acting. Yin Zheng had fear in his heart, an infinite yearning and fighting spirit. Sky Blue Kill was not shot according to the timeline, so after 2 days of filming, it was time for Yin Zheng's scene. Yin Zheng struggled for a whole day, and when the shooting was over at night, he mustered up his courage and walked into the master bedroom with the script. Chu Yunzheng just finished taking a shower and walked out of the bathroom wearing a bathrobe. When he saw Yin Zheng wearing a little rabbit pajamas standing at the door, his face changed, as if the Sichuan opera changed his face. He looked at Yin Zheng's pajamas in surprise, and always felt that Yin Zheng dressed like this somehow wanted people to touch his little round tail. But unfortunately, the pajamas printed with bunnies have no tail. Chu Yunzheng suppressed the regret in his eyes, and said with a natural look, "Come in, is there anything?" Yin Zheng slowly moved in, tried his best to ignore the discomfort in his body, and searched for polite words. "Mr. Chu, there will be our rivalry play tomorrow, I want to invite. Please be right with me." "Play?" Chu Yunzheng leaned against the head of the bed, took the script and glanced at it. "Well, it's the first time the Great Smokehouse will be filmed. First let me talk about your understanding of Du Minjiao's character, and the change in the relationship between Yuanqing and Du Minjiao. What do you think?" Seeing that Chu Yunzheng was acting like a standard teacher, Yin Zheng didn't consciously relax. Of course he has done his homework. Du Minjiao's biography has tens of thousands of words, so when facing Chu Yunzheng's question, it is not true at all. After thinking about it, he said, "Du Minjiao Mingyao is not a typical villain, nor is he an authentic warlord. He is paranoid, arrogant, extremely controlling, good at disguise, cruel, but very rational, can afford to let go, and has a special feeling for his family. So he plays with power, robbing territory, even burning, killing and looting. In the early stage, he also ceded land and paid indemnity, and dealt with various countries, not thinking that he had done anything wrong, but also thinking that he was doing it for the good of the country. But in the later stage, he faced the invading army. For the first time, the group of soft bones became tough, and they became the first person to resist and also the first person to sacrifice. This character is actually not complicated, but it is a little difficult for me to play his transformations and contradictions well," Yin Zheng said frankly, speaking of the relationship with Yuanqing. "In my opinion, his love for Yuanqing is like a plaything, based on interest and utilization. It's okay to give a little emotion. But if this emotion exceeds the standard, if this plaything is no longer under his control, then he can also be ruthless and destroy this plaything." Chu Yunzheng listened quietly. Yin Zheng's analysis is almost the same as his understanding of Du Minjiao. If it wasn't for this character being complex but simple, with a distinct personality, he would not have chosen Yin Zheng. In a role that is too demanding, Yin Zheng, who is improvised, is not up to the task. That's my understanding. After Yin Zheng finished speaking, he looked at Chu Yunzheng, feeling a little nervous. Mood. Yin Zheng sat on the chair beside the bed and nodded, then he saw Chu Yunzheng in front of him suddenly change his temperament, the originally handsome and gentle eyebrows raised slightly, bringing out a trace of icy coldness, ridicule, and gloomy decadent extravagant beauty. He seemed to instantly transformed into the slender young man who was in the big smokehouse for everyone to have fun. There was an imperceptible brightness on his depraved face. He saw the arrogant officer through the smoke, but he lowered his eyes as if he was looking at a stone. Yin Zheng's eyes instantly ignited a dark fire, he subconsciously hooked his lips into a smile, glanced back with his romantic eyebrows, and raised his chin casually. That thing, Du Mao wants it. Chu Yunzhen's expression returned to normal, and he looked at Yin Zheng who was in a daze with amusement. That's it. Conquer, control, transform, get excited. When people like Du Minjiao first saw Yuanqing, I wouldn't take it seriously at all, let alone use it, it's just a boring interest. In Yin Zheng's somewhat stiff look, he glanced at Yin Zheng's legs and said lightly, under control, it's best not to be the set tomorrow. Yin Zheng, I'm not, I don't have you, take your eyeballs back and don't look. Fuck. Yin Zheng blushed, and rushed out of the bedroom as if his was on fire. The bedroom door slammed shut. Chu Yunzheng sat on the bed, opened Doubao, and searched for a pile of plush pajamas in the shopping cart. He has always been worried about Yin Zheng's psychological shadow of being asleep, so compensation is compensation, apology is apology, but he rarely bothers him, but now Yin Zheng actually salutes him? It's interesting. Although Mr. Chu had no teaching talent, and even shy away from classmate Yin who came to ask for advice, the shooting the next day went smoothly. Zhang Fifei, I heard about Yin Zheng's reputation. But Yin Zheng's acting skills are really what he is really worried about. After all, the roaring, staring, and paralyzing stunts of the traffic little fresh meat are all carved out of the same mold. Although Yin Zheng used to have talent and some acting skills, it may not be easy to support Du Minjiao. However, after Yin Zheng joined the group, most of Zhang Fei's worries went away. He is a director who is very good at teaching actors, so it is not difficult to see that Yin Zheng is a piece of gold covered with sand. And this piece of gold is not a piece of gold that is self-indulgent, just to get by. He works hard and is willing to learn, is very practical in acting, and wants to make himself shine. This surprised Zhang Feihan. You must know that he really only came here for Chu Yunzheng at first, and only because of Chu Yunzhen's face did he accept Yin Zheng, who was riddled with scandal and was almost blocked. But now, Zhang Fei has been excitedly eyeing Yin Zheng's rough jade card. There was a hoarse shout from the loudspeaker. Zhang Fei sat on the chair and waved, the group performer on the far left. Yes, just you, the expression was wrong just now, and Xiao Yin, shoulders away, the momentum is Yuan Dingyu's insistence without exaggeration, you know what I mean? You are playing a powerful commander, not a gang boss. Take a 15-minute break, then another. Teaching well means high demands. After discovering Yin Zheng's talent, Zhang Fei immediately changed his requirements for Du Minjiao, and also consulted with screenwriter Wang for 2 nights, and fine-tuned Du Minjiao's scenes and characters. Since Yin Zheng has the ability to support Du Minjiao, what if he just helps him? Chu Yunzheng was wearing a light blue robe, and let the makeup artist sweep around his face to touch up his makeup. Zhang Feifan, and Yin Zheng, who was immersed in reading the script and reciting words next to him, had no unexpected emotions in their hearts. That weird mission allowed him to change Yin Zheng's fate. Chu Yunzheng did not refuse. But he knows very well that the only one who can really change a person's destiny is himself. Chu Yunzheng can help Yin Zheng and give Yin Zheng a chance. But the only one who can really take advantage of these help and seize these opportunities is Yin Zheng himself. In fact, in the original novel, if Chu Yunzheng hadn't completely cut off Yin Zheng's acting dream and put the last straw that overwhelmed the camel, Yin Zheng would probably not have been driven crazy. We'll still look for opportunities to stand up again. Just as the old was thinking about it, Yin Zheng, who was very good at seizing the opportunity, moved over and said with a serious face, Mr. Chu, what do you think I lack in my performance just now? I really don't know much about the warlords of that era. This part of the filming now is a more critical one. In the previous plot, after Du Minjiao took Yuanqing from the big smokehouse temporarily, he threw him at home like a gadget. Yuanqing was also like a walking dead, no response. Whether it was the Du mansion or the great smokehouse, there was no difference to him. In this scene, Du Minjiao learned that a subordinate betrayed him, and he drew a gun and shot him. The adjutant cleaned up with trepidation, while Du Minjiao brushed his gun while downplaying what happened after the arrangement. Then he saw Yuanqing, who had long been forgotten by him. Yuanqing stood at the entrance of the stairs, her face paled by the sound of gunfire, but her eyes were calm, and she swept over the corpses of her subordinates without making any waves. He stood there, his eyes pale and handsome, his eyes dark, and the half-dark light and shadow fell on him. Du Minjiao beckoned, called him to him, and asked, "How many people have you killed?" Yuanqing replied calmly, 2. Du Minjiao's gloomy and indifferent eyes suddenly showed a hint of interest, but he didn't say anything, just took a foreign language original book, handed it to Yuanqing, who couldn't understand it at all, and let him leave. This scene is Du Minjiao's second official appearance, which is completely different from the romantic and powerful impression he gave the first time. This performance is the first battle that can really show most of Du Minjiao's character and establish Du Minjiao as a character. His scheming, ruthless, cautious, and some shortcomings in his character are all reflected in this short scene. Chu Yunzheng recalled their rivalry just now, and said, "You performed well just now. You think Du Minjiao is a wolf, right?" The props were rearranged after the makeup artist had cleaned up. Chu Yunzheng stood in the Republic-style study, unscrewed a bottle of mineral water and handed it to Yin Zheng. Yin Zheng is really a big-hearted person. After half a month, he has changed from Angry Birds and Tangled Bunny to a good student who is diligent and hard-working. Facing Chu Yunshen's normal contact, he was no longer tense and stiff, which was a good sign. Yes. Yin Zheng took the water naturally and took a sip. Will show a different side. But in the bones, there will be a real temperament. Du Minjiao is a wolf. Chu Yunzheng met Yin Zheng's gaze, but he is not an ordinary wolf, but an alpha wolf. If you want to act like an alpha wolf, it is not only cruel, but also to convince people. His way of doing things is ruthless, but more stable. In this era, a little spark can burn down a country. Yin Zheng was thoughtful. Chu Yunzheng did not urge him, threw the mineral water bottles into the garbage bag, and said, I asked Yuan Meng to find some documentaries and biographies of the Republic of China, are you free tonight? And I'll watch it together and play it right by the way. Yin Zheng came back to his senses, didn't know what to think, his ears were slightly red, well, yes. Zhang Ji gestured over there, and Zhang Fifei's loudspeaker started to copy again. Chu Yunzheng didn't notice what was wrong with Yin Zheng, walked out of the study and returned to the stairs. The seventh time this scene was filmed, there were no more mistakes. Zhang Fifei and the assistant director read it over and over several times before they were satisfied. There is no night show today, and work is over in the evening. Zhang Fifei called Yin Zheng and Chu Yunzheng out alone, and hesitantly said, Old Chu, Xiao Yin, you are going to shoot tomorrow. Are you both ready? If you need something like this, just say it, don't be embarrassed. Yin Zheng's ears burned again, and he was awkwardly silent. Chu Yunzheng glanced at him, and suddenly understood what Yin Zheng meant by sneaking glances at him for the past 2 days. Because according to the shooting schedule, tomorrow will be the first bed scene of Yuanqing and Du Minjiao. Originally, Chu Yunzheng planned to seek Yin Zheng's opinion before, whether to take a substitute or consult with the director, and simply cut this paragraph. But later, when he got busy, there were too many things to do in the newly opened company and acting, so he put it off again and again, and it ended up being today. After thinking for a while, Chu Yunzheng said, Yin Zheng doesn't like men, it may be embarrassing. I remember that scene was in the afternoon, why don't I ask Yuan Meng to arrange a substitute tomorrow morning? Yin Zheng's face changed slightly, interrupting Chu Yunshen's words, I don't need a substitute. Chu Yunzheng and Zhang Fifan looked at him together. He may have noticed that his tone was too strong, so he laughed and said seriously, Director Zhang, Teacher Chu, I'm not embarrassed, the scale is here, it's not a scene. It's just everyone knows the news of me a few days ago, if Teacher Chu feels uncomfortable, it doesn't matter if you use a substitute. Haha, Lao Chu, this old bacon, that is, the third-level film has never been filmed, what can be uncomfortable? Zhang Fifei joked. Seeing that neither of them had any dislikes or requests, he swallowed his heart and began to ramble about tomorrow's scene to the two of them. This scene is very important, and Zhang Fihan is not someone who deliberately embarrassed the actors. But for the quality of the movie, he also didn't want to use a stand-in or cut scenes. Chu Yunzheng just listened to Yin Zheng's words, he was very polite, sensible, dedicated and considerate. But he didn't forget the stiffness that Yin Zheng faced him before. He said before that he doesn't necessarily ask Yin Zheng to forgive him, nor does he believe that true love will come out of sleep. So in the face of the subtle changes in Yin Zheng now, he felt it was necessary to ask clearly. So, after the two of them washed up and watched the documentary on the sofa in the living room, Chu Yunzheng suddenly interjected, Yin Zheng, you really don't mind having intimate contact with me? Yin Zheng was concentrating on watching the documentary, when he heard this sentence suddenly, he was stunned, then turned his head and looked at Chu Yunzheng. Chu Yunzheng was leaning on the light grey sofa, wearing a long coat and trousers at home, with the sleeves rolled up a little, revealing the slender forearm with smooth muscle lines. Clear and straight, calm and moderate, people unconsciously lead their minds to this person. Yin Zheng didn't know what emotions he was in. He subconsciously said, "I don't know either." Recovering, he frowned slightly. That day, what happened? After more than half a month, he was finally able to ask calmly. But Chu Yunzheng couldn't answer Yin Zheng at all. Because he didn't know why that day was different from the original plot, he was as confused as a demon and put Yin Zheng to sleep. Sorry. Chu Yunzheng sighed without explanation. It was quiet again. Soon, this documentary was at the end. When it was about to end, Chu Yunzheng was about to get up to pour 2 glasses of water and analyze the era and characters with Yin Zheng, but suddenly felt that the sofa sank suddenly. A shadow came over. He turned his head and saw Yin Zheng lowered his head, slowly reaching out, and gently holding his 2 fingers. "I may still mind. But I can call you Brother Chu." He looked at Yin Zheng, smiled, and held the hand instead, "As you wish." Hearing this, Yin Zheng's back, which had been tense and stiff, slowly loosened and leaned on the sofa. There is a distance of half a meter between the two, but the hands held by Su Su are inexplicably hot, the palms are close to the palms, and fine sweat is oozing. Here, Chu Yunzheng successfully took the first step in breaking the ice with his honest operation. To decide. Zhang Fifei had just heard 10 million, and he really thought that he had made it through time, but soon learned that the other party's request was actually to kick Chu Yunzheng, and director Zhang was stunned. "I heard that the budget of the crew was not enough, and if they were to pay for Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng's remuneration, I am afraid that director Zhang would also be stretched thin. What do you think of the quality of a film? Director Zhang is better than me clearly. Which of these costumes, scenes, and publicity does not require money? I am optimistic about this film, and I also want director Zhang to use the money on the edge of the knife and film well. The actor of Chu Yingdi is good, but the perverts are the ones who stand out. Villains, mental illnesses. My distant cousin is not bad either. I've seen that Love 1911 director Zhang, his acting is no problem. Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng don't need a dime for their remuneration. The entire crew also knows about Zhang Fihan and the 3 main characters, the producer and the producer. It would be stupid enough to sell Chu Yunzheng." Listening to the other party's eloquent voice, Zhang Fifei has a feeling that everyone is drunk and I am alone. Funds are important, but if Zhang Fifei was a director who easily compromised with money, he wouldn't be in a poor crew. If he hadn't seen Chu Yunzhen's Yuanqing, Zhang Fihan might have been shaken in his inherent impression, but now in his opinion, to exchange Chu Yunzheng for 10 million would be pure its stupid behavior. So he smiled awkwardly and politely to the phone, "Mr. Liu, this investment is unnecessary, the crew has a sufficient budget, and you know me, I like to generate electricity for love. I have to shoot even if I don't have money. No matter how poor I am, I can't have poor acting skills, and I will pay for Chu Yunzheng." "Mr. Liu," Zhou Zian who got the news. "I originally wanted to intervene in the crew in the least noticeable way to suppress Yin Zheng, but I didn't expect to meet a wonderful director." The feedback from the producers and supervisors was also unsatisfactory. The crew of Sky Blue Kill was really poor and very backboned. Zhou Zian looked unpredictable. There are a lot of movies submitted for review every year, but how many are actually released, and how many are popular? It's really a toast without eating and drinking. Tonight. Zhang Fifei's sentence "I will pay Chu Yunzheng even if I put in the money" is the second most searched. Chu Yunzheng was pushed to the cusp of the storm overnight. The news that he and Yin Zheng were on the same crew and had a scene also spread. The entertainment industry broke the news. Actor Chu Yunzheng and Xiao Xianro Yin Zheng Xiaocheng secretly filmed, suspected of being a same-sex couple. Further study is false, and sexuality exposure is true. The director of Sky Blue Kill Zhang Fifan said, "We will also ask Chu Yunzheng to film the film even if he pays the money." Chu Yunzhen's acting skills inventory, is it worth Zhang Fifei to give up tens of millions of investment? A few days ago, Yin Zheng went in and out of Chu Yunzhen's residence, and the two behaved intimately. Several entertainment media joint marketing accounts released the news, and it only took a few hours to turn the internet upside down. Not to mention Yin Zheng's reputation, Tao An's previous incident basically confirmed his unspoken rules and rumors of homosexuality, except for a small number of true fans who insisted on punching in, shouting "Brother, I believe in you." The rest are mostly abusive remarks. Yin Zheng's last Weibo post a month ago was scolded by hundreds of thousands of comments. The media who make trouble believe that even if Yin Zheng comes out to clarify again unwillingly, he will definitely be scolded again, which is nothing to be afraid of. So their main target is Chu Yunzheng. Chu Yunzheng, a 35-year-old actor, is different from most of the streaming stars in that although he has a large number of fans, his fighting power is not strong. In the eyes of the marketing account, Chu Yunzheng is a soft persimmon. Even if you pinch them, no fans will bite them wildly. Chu Yunzheng has a position in the circle, but they don't really go to the film circle, and they rely on Zhou Ziyan, so there is no need to be afraid, just do it. In fact, Zhou Ziyan didn't want to take action against Chu Yunzheng at first. After all, Chu Yunzheng is already an actor, and his position is relatively stable, and it cannot be easily suppressed. He also doesn't really want to offend people who don't need to be offended because of some trivial things. And he thinks that Chu Yunzheng is willing to pull Yin Zheng because of the favor of the university tutor, and Yin Zheng begged Chu Yunzheng to go to Tianjin Kill. A dignified actor who has been nominated at an international award, nestled in a poor crew, Chu Yunzheng himself should not be happy. So Zhou Ziyan asked people to invest in order to give Chu Yunzheng a step down and leave the crew when he was interested. But unexpectedly, this plot development is not the same as he thought. Chu Yunzheng really wanted to help Yin Zheng. The poor crew is really poor and cannot be moved. This is a miracle in the entertainment industry. Zhou Ziyan, who didn't take it seriously, finally got a little snack. I wanted to run over an ant, but also met the resistance of the ants and the foreign aid mantises that the ants found. He felt provoked. Since Chu Yunzheng insisted on getting together with Yin Zheng, he would not show mercy. It's just a few actors and stars. Compared with Zhou, people with discernment know what to do. All kinds of true and false news are rampant on the internet. Some people pulled out the record of Sky Blue Kill, some people said that they seemed to have seen the crew filming in a small town, and some people went to the director's screenwriter's information. But under the control of the Navy, most of people's eyes are still focused on Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng. On the one hand, the direction of public opinion is Black Yin Zhen. Yin Zheng's acting skills and character were ridiculed from the hair to the toes. Several film and television big V questioned why such a Yin Zheng would play opposite Chu Yunzheng. To imply unspoken rules, entertainment scum. The crew director blows Chu Yunzheng so much, can Chu Yunzheng really afford it? All kinds of true and false black materials about Chu Yunzheng emerged one after another. Tao An is naturally aware of these things on the internet. He also found someone to give Chu Yunzheng a set of praises. Anyone who questioned Chu Yunzhen's acting skills, "Hey Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng," he bought all the Navy and sprayed them back, creating a kind of flattering effect that was almost insane. The higher you stand, the harder you fall. Brother Ang, this is the medicated meal ordered by Mr. Zhou. Lu Liel returned to the hotel room with a large food box, lowered his voice and said happily, "The person who delivered the food from the private restaurant said that Mr. Zhou knew that you were busy filming recently and had a bad appetite, so I ordered one in a row. Used dishes have also improved the level of food for the crew, and we have all benefited from you." He took out the delicate dishes. Tao An sat on the sofa, her face a little haggard, listening to Lu Lele's words, subconsciously glanced at her stomach, a trace of panic and disgust flashed in her eyes. But when he raised his eyes, he returned to his handsome and sunny appearance, took the chopsticks with a smile, and let Lu Liel sit down and eat with him. The outside world is noisy and questioning. However, in the fully closed sky blue kill crew, it is very harmonious and it seems that it has not been affected in any way. But what happened that night, Zhang Fihan and the producer knew about it early the next morning. There is no publicity staff in the poor crew. Before the start, a small Weibo was opened, and there were only a few dozen fans, all of whom were crew members. Most people are closed and disconnected from the internet, and they have no idea that their crew is on fire. But for such a big event, director Zhang Fifan could not avoid being notified even if he disconnected from the internet. So when Chu Yunzheng finished putting on makeup early in the morning and went to the public toilet on the set to solve his physical problems, as soon as he opened the door of the booth, he saw the director, producer, and supervisor, 3 middle-aged and elderly people. He squatted in the toilet like a mushroom, scraped his hair and collected money, ready to find a relationship to buy a navy. Seeing Chu Yunzheng, Zhang Fihan's dark face showed a shy smile. "Old Chu, can you lend me 2,000 yuan? The 3 of us are almost." Looking down at the 3 old mushrooms, Chu Yunzheng felt intuitively for the first time that this crew was really poor. Chu Yun's voice is stricter than others, but more lenient than himself. Even as soon as the matter came out last night, Yuan Meng called him to inform him. In the end, these things were caused by him and Yin Zheng, so he didn't want to embarrass the crew. In the eyes of 3 scorching gazes, Chu Yunzheng calmly solved the physiological problem, and said, "Director Zhang, I will handle this matter. The crew announced my work. The studio will also take over, the friendship price, it is not urgently needed, everyone will be serious about filming." The 3 old mushrooms immediately smiled. The producer is a little embarrassed, after all, he is a producer who really has nothing to do with it, so he can't handle such a little thing well, and he took the entire crew to hug Chu Yunzhen's thigh. But he didn't reject it with all his face, he kept all these favors in his heart. Zhang Fifei was even more excited, and bumped against Chu Yunzhen's shoulder like an old urchin, almost knocking off Chu Yunzhen's pants. Without waiting for Chu Yunzheng to respond, he rushed out again, frowning and preparing for today's shooting with great energy. They didn't ask what Chu Yunzheng planned to do, because they all believed in Chu Yunzhen's ability and energy, so when Chu Yunzheng really acted, they just wanted to go back in time. He pressed Chu Yunzheng into the footbath and beat him. Director Zhang is crazy again. Yin Zheng sat on the small bench, flipped through the script, drank yogurt and quietly blinked at Chu Yunzheng. Chu Yunzheng smiled, "Well, be careful. When Zhang Fifei goes crazy, the requirements for actors will skyrocket." Apart from Chu Yunzheng, the one with the greatest pressure was Yin Zheng. Zhang Fihan is a stinky rock-type director in the pit, no matter what the actor is, as long as he can't act well and has flaws, he will definitely not let it go. And he was deeply influenced by the older generation's idea of slow work and meticulous work, and he was very good at grinding. For a whole morning, Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng were so exhausted that they lost their energy, and the group actors and supporting roles were also miserable, but most of them were used to Zhang Fifei's style, and they all persevered. After the lunch break, Chu Yunzheng was exhausted a lot. He has been staying up late lately. He kept answering the phone all night, checking information, as if he had returned to the time when he was doing research, and he was like a perpetual motion machine. However, Yin Zheng seems to be more energetic than him, and the whole person is in high spirits. It was a dimly lit evening. The twilight light poured in from the window, and the dust in the air was reflected in the ups and downs. A Western-style wooden bed was placed against the wall, the quilt on the bed was messy, the original book was smashed on the head of the bed, and several pages of obscure printed words were opened. Cameras and radio equipment are in place. Zhang Fifei cleared everyone else out of the room, ready to start filming the scene. The makeup artist finally checked the makeup of Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng, and confirmed that they were correct. They also walked away with their things. Before leaving, they narrowly winked at Zhang Fifan. Chu Yunzheng leaned against the bed, with Yin Zheng standing in front of him. Yin Zheng wore heightening insoles for this scene, because he is a little shorter than Chu Yunzheng, but Du Minjiao should be taller than Yuan Qing. Chu Yunzheng didn't notice this, but he still remembered Yin Zheng's disintegrating expression when the stylist took out the heightening insoles and stuffed them into Yin Zheng's military boots. Later, Chu Yunzheng discovered that whenever Yin Zheng was a little nervous during filming, he would subconsciously rub the soles of his feet, just like now. Yin Zheng also came back to his senses and nodded seriously. The shooting of this scene has begun. At this time, it has been about a week since Du Minjiao threw an original book to Yuan Qing to test whether there was a problem with his origin. Du Minjiao was busy this week, and he forgot Yuan Qing again. But this day was different. Du Minjiao drank outside and was not drunk, but the frivolity in his bones was released. When he returned to the mansion, he learned that Yuan Qing had a fever. Du Minjiao remembered such a person. He turned around, entered Yuan Qing's room, and saw Yuan Qing leaning on the bed with a flushed face green. On a whim, Du Minjiao strengthened Yuan Qing. Yuan Qing may have burned a little confused, completely tore up the accustomed obedience, and fought like Du Minjiao demolished the house. Du Minjiao put a gun to his head, stripped him naked and pressed him on the bed. Yuan Qing is awake and no longer resists. Du Minjiao, however, observed his expression, and at the most intense moment of disintegration, he broke apart Yuan Qing's hand holding the bed rail, and shoved the gun into Yuan Qing's hand. He said against Yuan Qing's ear, "I'll give you a chance to hold a gun." Yuan Qing's fingers trembled, struggled, and finally slowly clenched the gun. This scene is a substantial change in the relationship between Du Minjiao and Yuan Qing, as well as a huge turning point in Yuan Qing's fate and belief. Wang's screenwriter is also very aware of the sensitivity of this kind of play, but he still insisted on writing it, and Zhang Fifei also insisted on filming it. However, director Zhang is a serious person, and of course he won't actually shoot more revealing scenes, otherwise there is no hope of passing the trial 100%. This scene uses ingenious lens segmentation and transformation, highlighting the charming and cruel atmosphere, and the atmosphere is drawn with swords, and there are very few parts that are really exposed. This also comforts the more conservative Dr. Chu. Even if he has the consciousness of becoming an actor, he is not ready to take off his clothes in public. In a dimly lit room, Yuan Qing closed her eyes halfway and heard the sound of military boots stepping on the wooden floor. A stench of alcohol fell. Yuan Qing raised her eyes at the right time. Her face was gloomy, and her voice was a little hoarse. "Mr. Du." The man's straight military uniform is somewhat messy, with a loose neckline, revealing a slender neck and a slightly concave collarbone. Du Minjiao smiled inexplicably, with a strong sense of aggression, falling straight on Yuan Qing. Yuan Qing's face froze, as if she realized something. He was about to turn over immediately, but he didn't expect that Du Minjiao was faster than him, grabbing his neck and pressing on him to tear the robe. Yuan Qing was in a trance, and then struggled like crazy. Yuan Qing's ruthless strength, which has been mixed for many years, met Du Minjiao's merciless fist. The two fought from the bed to the balcony. When the maid outside heard the movement and shouted, Du Minjiao spat out blood and shouted coldly, "Get out!" The vase in the room was broken, and the table and chair overturned. The two men fought with blood oozing from the corners of their mouths and panting, but in the end Du Minjiao was a trainer, and it didn't take long to restrain Yuan Qing. When he was about to continue to resist, he took out his gun, pulled the bolt to open the chamber, and put it directly on Yuan Qing's forehead. The original blue eyes have always been. He looked at Du Minjiao. Du Minjiao fought fiercely with him, but his eyes never changed. He needs to vent, but he is not a man who will be carried away by venting and let his desires rule. He's fierce and arrogant, but he always knows what he's doing. Du Minjiao calmly and condescendingly looked at Yuan Qing, like a wolf waiting for its prey to slaughter. During the delicate confrontation, Yuan Qing's eyes changed with light, and countless complicated and dark emotions floated up and down. It may be a long time, or it may only be a few seconds, the expression on Yuan Qing's face all faded, and he slowly lowered his eyes. He was pinned on the bed and the hem of his robe was lifted. The bed shook. The camera is chasing the ambiguous light and shadow, and the hand holding the bed rail tightly. Occasionally sweep the foot of the bed and see the ankle locked by the belt trembling uncontrollably. The person behind him spit out hot breaths, and his fingers were split one by one. Yuan Qing closed her eyes. Du Minjiao looked at him and laughed softly, "I'll give you a chance to hold a gun." He put the gun in that hand. Yuan Qing stiffened. The hand loosened, trembled, twitched, and the veins burst out, like a person crawling in the middle of the mud and abyss, struggling between a rock and a hard place. But in the end, that hand grabbed the gun. If you want to ask Director Zhang who has the most scenes in this scene, Director Zhang will answer without hesitation, it is Lao Chu's hand. There are no lines, no expressions for the actors, and more body movements to show. For Chu Yun's Hung, the difficulty of this scene can be imagined. Even though Dr. Chu was diligent in his studies and practice, and supported by the memory of the movie Emperor, he took several shots before he was satisfied with Zhang Fihan. The scene is ambiguous, but after tossing it a few times, it becomes a little boring. And Chu Yunzhen's worry about Yin Zheng was really unnecessary. Yin Zheng was very serious when he was acting. Once the filming started, all his nervousness and discomfort would be thrown away, and he would not bring too much off-screen emotion into the play. Moreover, Chu Yunzheng always felt that Yin Zheng seemed to perform exceptionally well in this bed scene, and his acting skills were much higher than usual. If he had this level from the beginning, Chu Yunzheng would want to replace himself as Du Minjiao and let him play Yuan Qing. Perfect. Zhang Fifei looked at it several times and waved to everyone, "Old Chu and Xiao Yin, go to rest, maybe make up shots, if you don't make up, we'll be here today." Finally passed, Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng got up, exhausted. After all, this is not just a bed scene, but a fight scene in disguise, both physically and mentally tense. Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng went to rest in the nanny's car, waiting for the notice of reshoots. "It's hot." After Chu Yunzheng sat down in the car, he asked his assistant to wash some fruit and send hair to the crew. As soon as he saw Yin Zheng, he found that his entire neck was red, and he filled it with mineral water. Took several mouthfuls. Cough, cough. Yin Zheng almost choked when Chu Yunzheng saw it. He covered his mouth and coughed, "No, nothing." Chu Yunzheng hesitated for a while, but still reached out to hug him and patted him on the back. In this scene, Yin Zheng also took off his belt, did not take off his clothes, and his upper body was a little open, but since Yin Zheng is too thin and his chest muscles are not obvious, it may not be in line with Du Minjiao's in the camera. He was a big guy, so the makeup artist frantically cast shadows on him and drew a ditch. Now the water is flowing in, and the shadow is wet and a little dirty. Chu Yunzheng glanced at it, took a tissue from the side, reached in and wiped it for Yin Zheng, and accidentally touched something with his fingertips, but Chu Yunzheng didn't care. Yin Zheng froze all over, and his collarbone was flushed with light red. In his mind, he strangely remembered Chu Yunzhen's strong restraint and collision, and the bite that buried his head on him in the half-awake coma. Yin Zheng is a little scary. He calmed down the urge to cough, avoided Chu Yunzhen's hand naturally, took a tissue to wipe his mouth, and said with a smile, "It's okay, brother Chu." Chu Yunzheng didn't see anything, and asked casually, "How do you feel about this scene?" The explosion of acting skills may be temporary, but it can also break through and stabilize. Yin Zheng thought that Chu Yunzheng had discovered something, his face was a little unnatural, he leaned back, and he tried to calm down, "Brother Chu, you know, when filming such a scene, the body collides and rubs. There will inevitably be a little reaction, I didn't mean it, I will try my best to control." Yin Zheng's voice gradually became smaller, the whole person was embarrassed opposite Chu Yunzheng, and after a while, he wiped his face, "Actually, nothing." Feeling that his explanation was getting darker and darker, Yin Zheng simply shut his mouth. Anyway, he had no face in front of Chu Yun's hung. The person fell asleep and hugged his thighs. He was so skinless and faceless that he could bend and stretch, and there was no need to hold anything strong. Yin Zheng's heart was heavy, and he drank again. Chu Yun's hung observed Yin Zheng's reaction. His perception of other people's emotions is actually not as acute. After taking 2 steps, he noticed that Yin Zheng was not following. Chu Yun's hung tilted his head, raised his eyebrows and glanced back. "Come here, go to the bathroom." Yin Zheng hugged the paper and followed Chu Yun's hung for unknown reasons. Until Chu Yun's hung a cleaning sign on the outside of the toilet, opened the door of the compartment and pressed him in, then closed the door thoughtfully, stood outside and said in a low voice, "Half an hour, I'll show you the door." Yin Zheng only reacted from his confusion. "Yin Zheng, help!" Yin Zheng stared blankly at the compartment door, between the slow motion of his left and right hands and the sound of beating Chu Yun to death when he went out, he chose to smash the paper box with his bare hands. Chu Yun's hung was standing outside the door, not hearing the voice inside, but editing Weibo very seriously. "Chu Yun's hung v. At 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, the stars will be broadcast live. See you or not?" Fuck, I read that right. After 3 months, Chu Yingdi's first Weibo post is actually going to be broadcast live. Brother Chu is alive. Brother Chu is alive. The fans are crying with joy. Chu Yunchen's Weibo was sent out within a minute, and was instantly captured by the shocking party. The screen filled with exclamation marks and question marks took a full 10 minutes before other text began to appear. Turned out to a galaxy, all the fans ran to tell each other, hugged and cried. "I'm working overtime, my phone vibrates, and I've been wondering for a while when I see Chu Yunchen's 3 characters. Who is this who pays special attention? I seem to have forgotten what Brother Chu looks like." Me too, Chu Yun's Hung Global Fan Support Club reposted Weibo 10 times in a row, all crying. For more than a year, Chu Yun's Hung has not posted a single original Weibo except for the advertisements forwarded by the studio. Variety show awards ceremonies are not all over, the only place where you can see Chu Yun's Hung is the tabloids and marketing accounts. And Chu Yun's Hung himself has never expressed any opinion on these matters, just as he said before, bid farewell to a period of time, study in retreat, and isolate from the world. Of course, no one doubted what Chu Yun's Hung said to the outside world, and his superficial skills were also very good, so no one found out that he was mentally ill for more than a year. The hot search for Sky Blue Kill just went down for a day, and it was topped again. Chu Yun's Hung was silent for a year, and the first play he received naturally attracted much attention. There was no official announcement before, and Chu Yun's Hung studio did not make a statement. The fans didn't take it seriously. The Buddhists eat melons. No matter how noisy people are, Chu Yunchen's fans don't even bother. But it's different now. Chu Yun's Hung is about to start a live broadcast, and he is finally about to show his face. The fans were very excited, beating gongs and drums to celebrate. No matter whether it is true or not, first give me the top of the hot search. As for those sunspots, Buddhist fans have their own set of ways to deal with them. What's wrong with the actor? The actor is amazing. Don't you play a murderer with a mental illness? A villain is a professional. Apart from the villain, you can't play anything else. No wonder you can't get the actor Jinnah. Fans replied, "Thank you for your opinion. Brother Chu will continue to cheer cute. Chu Yunchen's acting skills are just like that, how can he boast like this? Which of the old actors in China is not better than him? Besides, even if his acting skills are good, his character is the same, and he is dead to the unspoken rules." Gay mixed up, tisk tisk. Fans replied, "Thank you for your opinion, Brother Chu will continue to cheer cute. Isn't Chu Yun's Hung the same male junior? What's the use of acting well, his character is rubbish, and a greasy man in his 30s still wants to eat swan meat." Fans replied, "Thank you for your opinion, Brother Chu will continue to cheer cute. Are Chu Yunshen's fans sick? Copy party." Fans replied, "Thank you for your opinion, we will continue to work hard to copy cute. The Weibo that was baptized by Chu's repeater seems to have just gone through a mighty mudslide. The major marketing accounts have commented on them, and they are all the same. I thought Weibo was pumped. Under the blessing of the mysterious copy party, this night passed so peacefully and harmoniously. At 6 or 7 o'clock the next morning, many people's alarm clocks went off. This day is Saturday, most people do not go to school and work, but the time to get up is faster than the teacher's name and the clock. These people are all fans and blacks. There are also many people who are pure melon eaters and innocent passers-by. At this moment, they all squatted in Chu Yunshen's live broadcast room. At exactly 8 o'clock, there was a buzzing sound of an electric toothbrush in the live broadcast room opened by Seeing Live for Chu Yunsung. Somewhere. The owner of the hand stepped back a little, glanced at the screen on the phone at random, raised his head and continued to brush his teeth, wash his face and shave in front of the mirror, without any idle burden. Barrage. After a few seconds, a barrage finally broke the eerie silence. I remember Brother Chu being 35 this year. Everyone fell silent when they looked at Chu Yunshen's handsome face, who was in his 20s at most. Chu Yunsung took care of himself and washed himself. He didn't look at his phone at all. Just when Heza tried to smear Chu Yunshen's upbringing manners, the bathroom door was pushed open, and Yinzheng, with a sleepy face, was wearing a rabbit pajamas with dull hair on his head, like a ghost shake-in. "Brother Chu, good morning." Yinzheng cheered up and said hello, took the toothbrush and started squeezing toothpaste, glanced at Chu Yunsung after wiping his face, and picked up the mobile phone to move him. The mobile phone was naturally put into the pocket, and Yinzheng did not pay attention to Chu Yunshen's mobile phone. But he noticed something else. "Brother Chu, you didn't do skincare." Yinzheng was angry. "I've already posted 1, 2, 3, and 4 for you, you can just wipe it on your face in order, it won't waste a few minutes. There will be several big nights to shoot recently. Play, you have to take good care of it, don't always try to cheat and play tricks, men need to be more refined." Chu Yunsung had to go back to the mirror while Yinzheng was talking, picked up a bottle of toner with a big one label and slapped it on his face. Chu Yunsung was chatting with Yinzheng about the script and roles along the way, guiding Yinzheng. Chu Yunsung did not forget that he was running a live broadcast, but he had never been exposed to this thing before, and Yuan Meng never thought that Chu Yunsung would not be able to broadcast live, and he was also recently Chu Yunsung instructed the group to turn around, and after a glance at the live broadcast, there was no major problem, so he put it aside for now. In addition to the vague impression of Zhang Fihan, who was notified of this completely closed production crew, other people who were disconnected from the internet were completely unaware. The people in Chu Yunsung's studio knew it, but they saw that Yuan Meng didn't respond, and Chu Yunsung has always been reliable. They thought it was the effect of the show and didn't care at all. So the effect of Chu Yunshen's live broadcast can be imagined. In the live broadcast room, when Chu Yunsung gently stuffed the phone into his pocket, he was stunned. After swiping rows of question marks, he thought the anchor was disconnected. But soon Yinzheng's nagging came, and fans calmed down. Although they still couldn't figure it out, they could still confirm that the anchor was still there, but they were locked in a small dark room. There is no picture, only sound. The screen is full of doubts, abuse, sarcasm, and some people express embarrassment at Yinzheng's appearance, scolding Yinzheng for being nosy, hugging his thighs and kneeling and licking, acting as himself. Who is it? But to scold people, you have to have back and forth to have energy. But in Chu Yunshen's live broadcast room, Chu Yunsung himself was pitch black, Chu Yunshen's fans copied frantically, and the super tube of Seeing Live was watching the processing. For the first time, the Water Army realized the curse. Uninteresting. The barrage was cleaned up very quickly. In the dark screen, the audience heard Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng go out, the screenwriter rubbed the car, and several people went to the set together. The audience thought, is there anyone who doesn't play mobile phones in the car? You're going to take out your phone this time so we can see the light of day again? They thought happily, preparing for a barrage of drowned people to question this unprofessional anchor. But unexpectedly, these people don't even play mobile phones in the car. Totally closed production crew, they finally know what is the difference between the total closure of Sky Blue Kill and the total closure of other people's homes. Sky Blue Kill is really closed. Disconnect from the internet, return to the original life, experience the true meaning of performance, fresh and unpretentious. Failed to wait for the light, a group of viewers had to continue listening to the sound. Then they discovered that Chu Yunzheng and several people were discussing filming while sharing soy milk fritters. Yin Zheng is also like a diligent elementary school student, holding on to Chu Yunzheng and asking non-stop, intertwined with two lines, like a playwright. Chu Yun said so much to wash Yin Zheng's floor, I don't know what's the matter. As expected of an actor, he can really act. But this sarcasm is pure wink for the blind. People outside their pockets were not affected at all. Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng used the time on the road to analyze today's scenes. This is their daily crew routine. Occasionally insert 2 sentences, a discussion. Arrived on the set and started shooting. Chu Yunzheng put the phone on the chair and went over to film. The audience in the live broadcast room who escaped from their pockets burst into tears with joy, and they were all in a trance. I can see it, Mama, I can see it. The camera is half-backed on the back of the chair, unable to capture the scene of the filming, and the sound is a little blurry because of the distance, and there is a lot of noise. But viewers who can see the ceiling and walls of the live room are more than satisfied than being in the dark in their pockets. I didn't expect my requirements to watch live broadcasts to be so low. The barrage was lively for a while. But filming is actually a very boring thing. Continuously pondering and repeating, when things go well, they get tired, and when things go wrong, they are devastated. Everyone on the set was very busy, especially Zhang Fifan, a poor and hard-working crew, who wished he could be broken into 3 messengers, and everyone had no time to spare. Even in the gap between filming, some people are constantly determining the scene props and doing all kinds of busy work. Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng, not to mention, during the rest time, they were either watching the camera with Zhang Fifei, or interacting with each other. In this boring, the audience in the live broadcast room was much less, but the ones left behind also had some different feelings. The profession of an actor seems to be no different from other professions. It is the same as hard work, the same will be scolded, and the same as you must continue to learn and enrich yourself. They will walk the red carpet glamorously and appear on various billboards, but they will also crouch on the steps without any image, changing their facial expressions like a neuropathy when encountering difficulties. I doubt myself, feel that I am not good at acting, and scold myself for being better than Luther. The barrage is much quieter. Yuan Meng, who finally found out that something was wrong, was about to blow up Chu Yunzhen's call, but found that the situation seemed to be okay. Out of blind trust in Chu Yunzheng, Yuan Meng decided to wait and see. This wait and see comes to noon. The crew sent a box lunch, 2 vegetarian dishes and half a marinated egg. Chu Yunzheng pulled over a small table and sat on the chair with Yin Zheng to eat. After eating, Chu Yunzheng took out 2 bottles of yogurt, 1 for each person, and inserted a straw with Yin Zheng to drink. Since he found out that Yin Zheng likes to drink yogurt, Chu Yunzheng asked his assistant to buy 2 boxes, freeze them in the refrigerator of the homestay, and bring a few to the crew every day. Live room. What a shabby bento, I cried. Is this lunch box standard $5? I heard that Sky Blue Kill is a poor crew, and the director has money to pile on the service, and nothing else, but I didn't expect that this box lunch. No wonder my brother Chu has lost weight. Is it still time to crowd fund to buy a lunch box for Sky Blue Kill? The fans are very sad, and their emotions are very likely to overlap with Chu Yun's Hung, who saw the three giants of the crew raise money to buy water troops a day ago. Just as the barrage started crowdfunding the lunchbox, Yin Zheng, who was sitting beside him with a side face, neatly packed up the garbage, and looked at Chu Yun's Hung with bright eyes. "Brother Chu, come on for a while." Chu Yun's Hung was used to it. "You pick." Handed Yin Zheng a wet wipe. Yin Zheng took it over and wiped his mouth, pointing to the last paragraph of the script. His expression changed, and he started his performance. This short paragraph is a scene that Yin Zheng has been pondering and practicing repeatedly recently. It is a scene that is relatively difficult for him to control. In this scene, Du Minjiao tore off a piece of skin that he loved and valued, forcing Yuan Qing to smoke opium. Du Minjiao is a man with a strong desire to control, and he sees people very accurately. He knows that Yuan Qing may not be completely controlled by him. He needed a rope to wrap around Yuan Qing's neck. Pampering is the rope, and so is opium, which is carefully calculated. Yin Zheng sat on the small bench, propped his arms on the chair next to him, raised his eyebrows slightly, and his momentum changed instantly. The barrage is full of question marks. Yin Zheng came to show off his acting skills? Are you sure it's not funny? You should change the angle of washing the floor. Yin Zheng's acting skills really don't have to be washed. Is it my hallucination? Why do I feel that Yin Zheng looks different? Not long after the barrage was brushed, Yin Zheng spoke up. Du Minjiao is strong and conceited. He is not willing to put on a false gentle gesture in front of Yuan Qing. So-called favor also includes coercion. He sat in the dim light, raised his chin slightly, and said nonchalantly, "Get something small. Eat it while it's hot." Lazy and unmistakably tough. Yuan Qing looked at the desktop. That's Big Smoke. He spent so long in the Big Tobacco Museum, and his knowledge of big tobacco far exceeds that of many ordinary people. He didn't raise his head to look at Du Minjiao. He just sat quietly with his back straight and his eyelids slightly drooping. Looking at the stack of pastries for a while, he slowly reached out and squeezed a piece, put it on the tip of his nose and sniffed. Yuan Qing took a bite of the cake and raised her eyes with a faint smile. "It tastes good." Du Minjiao smiled and pulled the collar of his military uniform lightly. His slack attitude had not changed from beginning to end, but it seemed that everything had changed. "You just like it." A brief look at each other, undercurrents surging. Yin Zheng finished reading the lines, the script smashed his face, and said angrily, it's almost. What's wrong?" Chu Yun's Hung handed him another apple, and began to make up for Yin Zheng with the analysis of the scene just now. This part is a kind of psychological change and firmness for Du Minjiao and Yuan Qing. Yuan Qing had no role in Du Minjiao's eyes at first, and he would not leave the espionage personnel he had meticulously cultivated to train a halfway monk with a still not sophisticated voice. His mind changed little by little. The play is a relatively obvious exposure, revealing and restrained. Chu Yun's Hung can't teach people, but it's not a problem to simply guide Yin Zheng's original performance. As soon as Chu Yun's Hung opened his mouth, Yin Zheng immediately bit the apple, listened carefully to the lecture, asked questions from time to time, questioned and refuted Chu Yun's Hung, and the two had a heated discussion. The barrage in the live broadcast room also changed in this short confrontation. Although I don't know what kind of plot they are playing, it's so good, the atmosphere is so tense that I can't breathe. The previous one is too exaggerated, but this part is indeed a bit worrying, and the plot will definitely not be just a warm meal plot. Yin Zheng's eyes are too playful. He seems to be forcing Chu Yun's Hung to eat something, but it's a little different. The atmosphere is weird. I'm a little scared. I didn't get too pressured when I played against Brother Chu. Yin Zheng's acting skills are okay. The acting is good, but the character is rubbish. No matter what the barrage says, the life of the crew is still the same. The live broadcast lasted until the evening, and the audience began to wonder why the live broadcast was so long and still not closed, and then looked up and saw the title of the live broadcast room, My Day in the Crew. To be honest, say one day is one day. The sincere Shadow Emperor Chu has a night show tonight. Yin Zheng didn't play, but he didn't go back. He sat next to the assistant director and studied the script, working very hard. After filming the night scene at about 10 o'clock in the evening, Zhang Fihan and the producer rubbed Chu Yunshen's nanny car on the way back. The phone was returned to his pocket, and the live broadcast room was pitch black again. The audience in the live broadcast room increased again at night, but everyone was basically used to this familiar darkness. Only ignorant passers-by would make a sound of doubt when they crashed in. The nanny car was very quiet, everyone was tired, and had no energy to speak, only Yin Zheng was still holding the script and whispering his lines. The audience in the live broadcast room was drowsy, and they were thinking about whether to lie down and listen to the lullaby when they suddenly heard the producer speaking in Sichuan dialect. "Oh, the budget for the crew is really not enough, Lao Chu, I'm embarrassed to throw all the announcements to your studio, otherwise, let's think of a way to follow the trend, and make a CP or something." Barrage. We seem to have heard a big secret. However, before anyone could speak, director Zhang Fifan refused. "This is not good, I oppose it." Zhang Fifan sighed, "Although our film has some basic content, but this is not the theme, don't focus the audience's attention on these things, just let everyone watch the film well." In addition, the dirty water on Xiaoyan's body has not been washed, so the hype may be counterproductive. And Du Minjiao is more powerful in our film, but in reality, Lao Chu's aura is 2.8 meters, this is not the right product. Producer, that's right, this is what those little girls said about the inverse CP. I'm afraid even the hype won't be very good. Forget it, let's not kill it when the filming is over. The banquet is over, save some money and buy a hot search. Zhang Fifei clapped his hands, yes, yes. Chu Yun's hung. Yin Zheng, the barrage ready to be sprayed, what kind of silliness is this, a poor crew? At this time, although director Zhang knew that Chu Yun's hung was going to start a live broadcast, he did not pay attention to Weibo dynamics, nor did he know the live broadcast time of Chu Yun's hung, and he really believed that the hype was bought and bought. Su is a basic exercise, so I don't even know that his poor face has been seen by millions of people. Back to the homestay in the evening, Chu Yun's hung and Yin Zheng read the information and figured out the characters until 12 o'clock. Yin Zheng warmed up the milk and handed it to Chu Yun's hung, took a shower and went to bed on time. Chu Yun's hung returned to the bedroom with the milk, put the phone on the table, took out a pair of gold-rimmed glasses and put it on, opened the laptop and started working. Crackling keyboard sounds. Occasionally answering the phone, all in foreign languages, listening to the live broadcast room. I have no idea that the nightlife of the actor is so esoteric and difficult to understand. 3 in the morning. Fans finally saw the gentle and scum-like man in the camera turned off the computer and climbed into bed, and said the first sentence of his live broadcast to the mobile phone, at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, star live broadcast, see you or leave. Live room. No, go. On this night, Tao An's previous interview was released, which talked about his harassment by Yin Zheng. Tao An responded generously, did not avoid talking about it, and did not step on Yin Zheng in a gesture of falling into trouble, but hoped that everyone would forgive Yin Zheng who made a mistake. The next day when I opened the live broadcast room, Chu Yun's hung, who saw the barrage mentioning this, couldn't help but smile. It came. Chu Yun's hung remembered this time point, so he chose to live broadcast these 2 days. Faced with the barrage question, Chu Yun's hung didn't want to answer. Yin Zheng's depressed and dazed face when he had a fever suddenly flashed across his mind. He thought about it with his straight head and said, I don't think Yin Zheng did anything to Tao An. He doesn't like Tao An. Seeing Qing Yishui's sarcastic boos, Chu Yunshen's voice was calm, and continued, Yin Zheng doesn't like men. Even if he does, he should like me like this. I think, it should be the kind of gentle and infatuated attack written in the book. Barrage. I don't know if I should ask Brother Chu what book he read or why he is shameless. For the first time I saw a star who is gentle and infatuated. Chu Yunshen's show finally caught Yuan Meng's attention. Yuan Meng called Zhang Fihan during the break. Zhang Fihan was full of horror. After seeing that the Weibo of the Sky Blue Kill crew had over 10,000 fans overnight, all of them were satisfied. With pride, he praised, "Old Chu is really a genius of propaganda." Yuan Meng's voice immediately increased an octave, "You know. Zhang Fifei, of course I know. Lao Chu told me before the live broadcast and asked me if there was anything I couldn't broadcast. I said no. Our crew doesn't do anything shady, don't bully people, just broadcast it casually, there are no secrets, and you can increase your fans, so many things to save money." The word saving money floated in a very awkward tone. Yuan Meng, forget it, Director Zhang, give your phone to Lao Chu. Zhang Fifan beamed and called out Chu Yunsheng, who was playing against Yin Zheng, to the corner. Chu Yunsheng glanced at the words Agent Yuan Meng on the screen of the mobile phone, took the mobile phone calmly, and took 2 steps to the side. "Old Yuan." Yuan Meng wanted to cry without tears, and his tone was difficult. "Old Chu, what's going on with your live broadcast? Why is it like an unannounced visit from the Legal Affairs channel, shaking everything out? You didn't take it before. Live interviews? Also, what books have you read recently? What is gentle and infatuated attack? What is Yin Zheng supposed to like you? Old Chu, do you know what impact it will have when you say this? You have been in this circle for so many years, why? Yuan Meng really doubts life. He thumped like a machine gun, and sighed 108th today, I'm really old, Lao Chu, I've bought 2 boxes of this heart-saving pill, and my wife wants to make an appointment for heart bypass surgery for me, can we be more reliable? Chu Yunsheng waited for Yuan Meng's anger and sadness to vent, and then in Yuan Meng's long sigh, he calmly said, "Is the enthusiasm between me and the crew very high now?" "Yes." Yuan Meng paused, "But it affects." Chu Yunsheng interrupted him, "Are the black materials on the internet between me and Yin Zheng all fake, and most of them are guided by the Navy?" Yuan Meng was a little unclear, but still said, "That's right, but you have to know that your live broadcast has a very low impact." "Don't worry." Chu Yunsheng said solemnly, "I can solve these things, you just need to concentrate on completing the things I arranged. This month's salary will be doubled and the bonus will be tripled." Yuan Meng's eyes immediately popped out of the rapidly rotating numbers of money. He roughly calculated his income this month, and suddenly his waist did not hurt or his legs were sore, and the whole person was a little clear. The refreshing Buddhist system was satisfied, but he was still a little worried, and asked, "You don't need to worry about the studio, how are you going to solve it?" Being an agent for so many years, this is the first time he hurriedly leaves the studio and company in a hurry. Chu Yunsheng mused, "It's very complicated to say." Yuan Meng, "Then you can make a long story short, as your agent, I can't care about anything, I don't trust you at all now." Chu Yunsheng, "Technology is the primary productive force." Yuan Meng was stunned for a few seconds before realizing that this sentence was Chu Yunshen's long story short. What does it mean? The props team was ready, and the theater manager made a gesture to Chu Yunsheng. Having no time to explain carefully, Chu Yunsheng asked instead, "Has there been a result of what I asked you to investigate?" Yuan Meng was immediately taken away from his thoughts and entered a serious working state. "There are results, and some evidence has been obtained. The affair between Yin Zheng and Tao An should be false. Tao An's last episode, the second male lead in the play, just wanted to cause some trouble for Tao An. He might think that Tao An took the male lead as Yin Zheng's power, so he wanted to make Yin Zheng annoy Tao An by making scandals, but he didn't expect Tao An it will really bite Yin Zheng." Yuan Meng paused and said, "Old Chu, there is actually Zhou's shadow in these things now, we are not wise to do it. You must help Yin Zheng." He didn't quite believe in the matter of Chu Yunshen's unspoken rule. "Yin Zheng. He deserves my help." Chu Yunzheng casually said, let them make trouble first, free publicity, labor and hot searches, don't do it for nothing. I'm very poor recently, and our studio is not rich, we can save a little bit. You don't have to worry about the future, I'm going to film first. After finishing speaking, Chu Yunzheng hung up the phone neatly. Yuan Meng sat in the office and stared at the phone for a while, and suddenly realized that the call made no sense at all. Chu Yunzheng was so strong and insistent, making Yuan Meng extremely helpless. But he is only an employee of Chu Yunzhen's studio now, and he can only persuade him. If the boss doesn't listen, then he has no choice but to pray that Chu Yunzheng is really confident. Yuan Meng wiped his face, for the sake of the bonus. The outside world is bloody, and the live broadcast of Chu Yunzhen's mudslide is constantly questioning and ridiculing everywhere. But the crew of Sky Blue Kill should be filming and eating, and it was strangely unaffected. During the years of following Zhang Fifei, the cast and crew have learned the stunt of being able to entertain themselves without the internet. Once they enter the filming state, they are indifferent to everything outside. But the director and actor who can be concerned about it, don't take it seriously, and didn't even tell anyone on the crew. Yin Zheng, the person who was scolded for making out, didn't know it either. Chu Yunzheng was very satisfied with this. Yin Zheng. Live broadcast, Chu Yunzheng is not open every day. He only takes out Saturday, Sunday and 2 days to live stream all day every week, and disappears at other times. His live streaming style is still very cool. From time to time, he puts his mobile phone in his pocket and closes the audience's dark room. All day long, he will only say see you tomorrow and see you next week. No interaction with fans at all. In the beginning, there were a lot of real and fake passers-by and sunspots coming in to question and criticize, but over time, slowly, everyone found that they had become accustomed to Chu Yunzhen's alternative live broadcast method. From Saturday to Sunday morning, fans in the live broadcast room will check in on time, then work and chat on the barrage. Chu Yunzheng washed Chu Yunzhen's face, they chatted about their snoring, and when Yin Zheng got up, he would hear the routine anger, Brother Chu, you haven't put on sunscreen. Barrage, oh, the cohabitation of the delicate boy and Uncle Pig. Never skincare Chu Yunzheng. Daily roaring exquisite. So wet, so wet. Fans talk about Buddhism and are very indifferent to the world. In such a bland live broadcast, the stubborn and impatient trolls he's silently left, cursing and being ignored. The other viewers who stayed did not watch the live broadcast of the star crew, but most of those live broadcasts were live broadcast effects created by some people. At the breaking point, the stars are also happy to interact with everyone, all they want is the feeling and enthusiasm of the interaction. There is no one like Chu Yunzheng who doesn't care about the audience and does his own way. But unexpectedly, after watching Shadow Emperor Chu's live broadcast for a long time, it seems to have become a habit like air. The audience will not stay in front of the live broadcast all the time, waiting for interaction, waiting for the news, but put the mobile phone on the stand. It is time to cook, and it is time to watch the drama. They often feel that they are not watching the live broadcast of some stars, but understanding the daily life of the person they like, and to a certain extent they have a strange life with the person they like. Heart, and satisfaction. They are separated by a screen, but they live much the same life. Many celebrities are worried that their idol halo will fade away and disappear into the public. But Chu Yunzheng has no such burden. He also eats watermelons and drinks iced Coke. I don't even want to wash my face. A male with a distance will attract people to chase, but a male who is both cool and ordinary may make people have a real and firm heartbeat and motivation to chase. This live broadcast ran throughout the shooting of Sky Blue Kill. If at the beginning, there were still many people who doubted the relationship between Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng, and questioned Yin Zheng's acting skills, then later, these topics gradually no longer believed. The daily interaction between Chu Yunzheng and Yin Zheng may be somewhat intimate, but it is very natural. Of course, if there is a real person in the know, I am afraid that this is clearly the old husband and wife model. But unfortunately, no one knows that the two have slept. Chu Yunzheng, the elder brother, took care of Yin Zheng very much, and Yin Zheng also remembered Chu Yunzheng very much. After knowing that Chu Yunzhen's sleep quality was poor, no matter how late he came back, he would always warm a glass of milk. Yin Zheng's acting skills are improving visibly. Yin Zheng often asked Chu Yunzheng to play against him, and the audience in the live broadcast room watched him transform step by step under the guidance of Zhang Fihan and Chu Yunzheng, from a somewhat boilerplate the villain, rich enough to be a flesh and blood warlord in troubled times. Yin Zheng's efforts and changes are in everyone's eyes. Even if the black material on his body has not been washed, people can't have much disgust for him. Besides, after such a long live broadcast, and Chu Yunzhen's clarification, people couldn't help but begin to doubt Yin Zheng's harassment of Taoan. In other words, Yin Zheng was grown up by the audience in the live broadcast room, and the details showed his character, and the audience still had some trust in Yin Zheng. The shooting time flew by quickly. When Yin Zheng's last scene was finished, the live broadcast room even frantically gave a reward. A barrage expresses everyone's wishes. Looking at Yin Zheng at this time, I have an inexplicable illusion of watching my child go from being a scumbag to becoming an academic master and successfully graduate from a key university. Other barrages responded. Yin Zheng is really making progress. Zheng Zheng is very hard-working. He is even more demanding than the director. A play can be worn to death, and he is always worried that he is too bad, delaying the progress of the crew, and dragging down the crew. This poor crew is still procrastinating. Director Zhang and brother Chu are also very good at training actors. I am a student of the film school. I come to the live broadcast room every week to listen to the class. The teachers praise me for my progress. Share it with the whole department. Wait, I'm done, won't he be gone in the future? A group of barrages immediately reacted to what it meant to finish the project and began to cry. 2 or 3 months ago, when Yin Zheng first appeared, no one liked him. They all criticized him and ridiculed him. At most, they ignored him and focused on Chu Yunzheng. But today, people's impression of Yin Zheng has changed, and suddenly they are a little reluctant to recite the exquisite actor who can recite lullabies. But soon, the audience in the live room knew they were thinking too much. Yin Zheng, who had finished his career, didn't make it, but was detained by the domineering Chu actor and continued to study in the crew. Live room, suddenly so pitiful Yin Zheng. The crew imprisoned the play. Yin Zheng is forced to cut off the internet to study seems very happy. Yin Zheng is really happy. 3 months of closed crew life made him completely throw away the previous collapse and depression, and the haze in his heart was slowly dispelled during the tense and busy shooting. No one looked at him with disgust, and no one scolded him for dying and calling him disgusting and perverted. Different from the previous idle drama crews that needed to play back and forth, come and go in a hurry, and intrigue, the crew of Sky Blue Kill seems to be a big family. Are also healing. Now calm down and look back at what happened before, it seems that it is nothing. He entered the entertainment industry as a teenager because he liked acting. And now that he has acting and enthusiasm, why bother so much? Yin Zheng's heart suddenly became brighter, and the whole person became much more relaxed. He thought he should leave after finishing the film. It was time to go out and face those rumors, but Chu Yunzheng abruptly detained him and let him continue to observe and study in the crew. Yin Zheng said it was false to say that he was unhappy, and he didn't really want to leave in his heart. I don't want to leave, I don't want to leave the crew, or I don't want to leave Chu Yunzheng, I'm not sure. Sky Blue Kill was not filmed completely according to the timeline, so soon after Yin Zheng's scene was filmed, the whole movie entered the final stage, and the 3 giants of the crew also began to get busy, and they met in advance with people from all walks of life hook up and talk about the review and release. And this talk brings up a problem. The film is stuck. Before the filming of Sky Blue Kill was actually finished, Rumors spread that this film will not be requested in theaters, and the top may be stuck, so I won't give it. The producer is not director Zhang, who can only film in Other Idiots. Although he has nothing to do with him, he has been involved in so many film and television circles. Suddenly understand this play offends people. Also a big guy. That night, the three giants of the crew squatted in the toilet again, turned into three middle-aged mushrooms, sighed and racked their brains to find a way. This time, Chu Yunzheng did not come in to solve the physiological problem. Today is his live broadcast day, so he is still live broadcast. There is no evening drama. After finishing some targeted acting training with Yin Zheng, Chu Yunzheng thought of Yuan Meng's phone call yesterday, and said to Yin Zheng, "What's your plan next?" Yin Zheng was heating milk in the kitchen when he heard Chu Yunzheng's words and was stunned. He turned to look at Chu Yunzheng, who was leaning against the kitchen door, thought about it, and said seriously, "Brother Chu, you guys are working. Is the room still receiving people? I know that I am in trouble now, but I still want to continue acting. I will study hard and find a way to solve those things. I hope you can give me a chance." Chu Yunzheng was a little surprised. He really wanted Yin Zheng to join his studio, but unexpectedly, Yin Zheng opened his mouth first, and his tone was full of firmness and sincerity. Chu Yun's prestige towards Yin Zheng. Today, Yin Zheng was wearing a very loose sweater and shorts, with a light blue apron hanging loosely around his neck. The washed and blow-dried hair fell down softly, suppressing the dazzling eyes between his eyebrows, making him look clean and clear. His eyes were smiling, black as gems, filled with dazzling light, and he stared at Chu Yunzheng earnestly and a little nervously. Chu Yunzheng's heart beat faster. He suddenly wanted to laugh. A lot of fans, lost a lot of fame, but you can keep acting until the day you don't want to. Yin Zheng's ears were slightly red, the corners of his mouth were raised high, and he rushed over holding the milk. "Brother Chu, drink my milk." Chu Yunzheng, "Well, whose milk?" Yin Zheng was stunned for a moment, wishing to pour the milk on his face. "What are you talking about?" He tried to explain, slip of the tongue. "It's drinking my hot milk. It's almost 11 o'clock, Brother Chu, you should rest early, I'll go to bed first." Speaking, Yin Zheng smiled very calmly, walked out of the kitchen calmly, and then squeezed his mouth and slammed it hard. "I'll let you get carried away." This scene was captured by a mobile phone placed on the living room table. Live audience. Chu Yunzheng, who saw Yin Zheng's movements in the mirror, laughed out loud, and slowly took a sip of milk that was a little hot but fit his taste, wondering if Yin Zheng was secretly adding sugar. "Seems a little sweet." Chu Yunzheng drank the milk, turned off the light in the kitchen, picked up the phone, and went back to the bedroom. Sitting at the table, Chu Yunzheng glanced at Zhang Fifei's message, which was about the card. He didn't reply, but as usual, put on his glasses, turned on the computer, and began to crack the keyboard. At first, the audience in the live broadcast room was curious about what Chu Yunzheng was doing without sleeping in the middle of the night, but then when Chu Yunzheng answered the phone, he would leave the live broadcast mobile phone and read a lot of books in foreign languages. It made people completely confused, and gradually no one asked. But tonight is different. 11:30 p.m. While Chu Yunzheng was working passionately in front of the computer, his other mobile phone suddenly rang. The drowsy audience in the live broadcast room thought that this time it was a foreign language for daily work, but unexpectedly heard that the phone was not in English, nor French, nor Spanish, but authentic Chinese. The fans cried with joy, immediately turned up the volume, and perked up their ears to eavesdrop. Then they faintly heard a serious and polite male voice on the phone, "Is it Mr. Chu, the president of Yunzheng Technology? We are the Imperial Capital Research Institute. Your company is concerned about polymer lithium batteries. We are very interested in the latest research progress of your company, and I wonder if you can invite experts from your company to Beijing to discuss in detail." Chu Yunzheng glanced at the timetable on the table and said, "Are you in a hurry?" "No hurry, I'll finish filming." On the other end of the phone,